Gilmore Space deploys their fairing by accident. SpaceX is load testing Pad B. We got some interesting Terran R updates from Relativity Space, and we're all thoroughly confused about what's going on with Starship Flight 9. Roll the intro.
And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, roll, planet.
Water towers, fly! Yes! Echo down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What do you think?
Put that in the big bag,
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
The methane would be igniting the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Hello, and welcome to the Flame Trench, our weekly informal news show where things get a little bit spicy. I'm Jack Beyer, host for the week, and as always, I'm joined by an ever-competent cohort of co-hosts, starting off with EJ this week, looking fly. How you doing, EJ?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm great. You gonna light that cigar?
Nah,
The-
not inside. Gotta go out on the grill. That's where I left my cutter. I left my cutter out on the grill.
Got it. That's where it should be.
Wait a minute. Did you get the memo? I thought Friday was supposed to be Hawaiian T-shirt day.
I did get the memo, and yes, I didn't get the shirt in time. I know
Well,
I've disappointed you.
You
I'm
know,
sorry.
Friday is when we're doing, all the Hawaiian. That's the Hawaiian T-shirt day. I'll just have a copy of that memo printed up to you.
No,
and,
I already got it. No, thank you, EJ. Also joining us this week, we have Sawyer. Sawyer, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm also sad because mine was supposed to be in the mail today too. I got mine in blue. It was going to be really nice. EJ and I were going to be all Hawaiian, and you were going to all be like, "Oh wait, I don't want a Hawaiian shirt. I don't have a Hawaiian shirt." And we would go, "Well, you can get one at shop.nasaspaceflight.com." And then it didn't happen. So instead, I'm wearing a shirt with a pun on it. So hopefully that makes up for it. I'm good though.
Great. As always.
Now this is just weird.
Yeah,
dude.
nothing to add. As always, chat, if you have any questions about what we're talking about, feel free to @NASA Spaceflight in chat with your question. We'll see it pop up in some software we have running in the background. Also, thanks to Jay for operating today's stream. We appreciate you, Jay, despite whatever you are going to unleash on me and our poor viewers on this stream. But is that the hype train? What is that? Oh gosh. But yeah, let's jump right into the news of the week. EJ, how do you deploy a fairing by accident?
That happens when you don't check your staging, man.
Perfect.
You got to check your staging. So, all right, hold on. Okay, so Gilmore Space, one of the first commercial Australian space companies, went to launch their Eris rocket a little bit earlier this week from their Bowen spaceport in Australia. It's in Queensland, Australia. They're a commercial Australian launch provider that's trying to launch Australian rockets from Australian soil, maybe with Australian astronauts someday. No, probably not. I mean, maybe, never say never, right? But they entered into like their launch campaign, their testing campaign for launching the Eris rocket, and during per their post here, they went into overnight checks, and their fairing popped off.
They had a bad time, sounds like.
They had a bad time. They pizzaed when they should French fry.
You never want a pizza when you're supposed to French fry. Ever.
Yeah. they had a so this post right here says they scrubbed the day. They did a 24-hour scrub and they were doing pre-flight checks in the middle of like in that 24 hours, and the fairing apparently popped off. Now we did learn this from them. They did actually say it. Yeah, during final checks. There you go. Unexpected issue triggered the rocket's payload fairing. No fuels loaded. No one was hurt, and early inspections show no damage to the pad. The fairing, though, is probably
crispy.
not. It's probably riding the struggle bus right now, I think.
Yeah.
Everyone keeps saying check your staging, but what about locking your staging? Well, you don't want to lock it either because the rocket has to leave the pad. Now, this marks the this would have been the first orbital launch attempt from like continental Australia since the United Kingdom's Black Arrow rocket in 1971. The UK actually launched from Woomera, which is in forget Australians, you're gonna kill me. It's the center south province state. It's near Adelaide, Woomera. I forget exactly where it is. I forget the name. I know where it is.
It's a good looking rocket.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad little rocket. Like this company Gilmore kind of came out of nowhere with this. And they said they're going to move the vehicle back to the VAB and they're going to get the fairings for what would presumably be the next rocket. But Jack, like, you got to ask, how did that happen? I mean, my mind is like, this isn't the first time a rocket is staged incorrectly on the pad.
Right.
If you guys cast your mind back to the early parts of the space race, the Mercury Redstone 1 rocket actually deployed its launch escape system on the pad. Like, it went to launch, it hopped maybe about an inch, and then the top popped off, and then the mortars went. Like, watch.
Yeah, if you've never seen this is classic spaceflight footage. It's like one of those videos that everybody's seen.
And it's gone. Yep, there's the parachute.
A little pop parachute.
A little parachute. Hey, the parachute deployed great. The mortars work just fine.
Good test.
So,
I love that.
This isn't unprecedented having something like this happen, especially if you're new to this kind of stuff, right? So, unfortunately, they need another fairing. They moved the vehicle back to the VAB, and Gilmore said they're standing down from their launch attempt, this test campaign completely, and they're not sure when the next one will be. They got to look over the entirety of the rocket. Hey, Gene's in chat. What's up, dude?
Yo,
light up the grill, man. Let's go.
By the way, Alicia in the back channel said, "Guys, the payload was a jar of Vegemite. It's fine."
Yeah, she's not wrong. They actually said in a post that the Vegemite is okay. Jack.
No, I'm glad we got that update from them. I'm glad they're being so open about what happened. It's not exactly the most glamorous, series of events to encounter on your test campaign. I really hope they release video. Like, come on, just release video. Like, you already told us it happened. You would do nothing but garner a whole bunch of goodwill from the space community, because it would probably be very meme worthy. But I totally understand if they never do. But I'm sure video exists. But yeah, I mean, it's, what this reminds me of? The oh gosh, I forget what satellite it was. It was like USA 197 or something like that, but they had it in processing and they had it on a breakover fixture, and they went to break it over, but it wasn't actually bolted down, and they didn't check that it was not bolted down, and it just went kerplop right on the floor, and it was like a couple $100 million to fix or something like that. Like, that's why in spaceflight, every little tiny thing that you do has like a procedure, and there's checkouts and lockouts, and that's how you learn what sort of procedures and checkouts and lockouts and what sort of things you need to do. I would love to know exactly what happened though. Like, was it just somebody sat on a keyboard, or I don't know. I'm dying to know. I feel horribly bad if somebody like thought they were running a test procedure and accidentally like pressed A instead of B or something. Like, it's never a good day.
By the way, I gotta say, you were talking about Black Arrow. It really does kind of still look like it, doesn't it? Although, imagine the payload fairing popping off, because I always thought that the Black Arrow looked like a giant thing of lipstick with the red top on it. Imagine that part just popping off on the ground, falling off, and it's like, oops.
Oopsie.
I mean, those fairings are probably not useful anymore. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, didn't they say
I mean-
they're going to have to put new fairings on?
Yeah, they're bringing the fairing. They're bringing up the fairings, another set. Presumably from that would have been the second launch, but
They helped with the aerodynamic forces of sitting on the launch pad, though. That's the most crucial part of flight.
So the Vegemite
Mhm.
is safe. That's the critical thing. The rocket is healthy. No fuel was loaded. Nobody was hurt. I guess that's the critical thing. Also, that the Vegemite was safe. But yeah, I'm excited to see them get off the ground eventually here. First rocket, you're gonna have a couple issues. This is how it goes.
it happens, man. Like, this is one of the times where saying space is difficult is, I'd say, particularly applicable. Like, everybody says, "Oh, space is hard," but I really think there's certain times when you get to say that. Like, if you make a dumb mistake, you're like, "Oh, I forgot to plug it in. Space is hard." Like, no. This is very much an unknown. Gilmore's a new company, the first of its kind out of Australia. It's a new company, new rocket, new launch site. Everything is new. There's so many unknown unknowns. There's just stuff that you just don't know until you go and do it. Like, we have the ranges over here, like the Eastern Testing Range, Western Testing Range. We've launched tons of rockets, but like the reason why I actually told Jay to get that Mercury Redstone 1 footage is because when you're new at this, there's unknowns. There's just stuff you're just not taking into account. It happens. Like, I don't think this is any mark on the company or anything like that. It's probably just, one of the things. Oh, like, I'll take Mercury Redstone 1, for instance. Like, that was caused by a wire short. This one may have been that too. Like, oh, I didn't discharge myself before I touched the rocket, I sent a static charge up the thing that blew the pyros on the fairing. Like that, it could be something like that. Just something you just don't think of.
Someone's like checking the thing with a multimeter, and it like bridges the current, and it's just like pop, and you're like, oh god, like that's a bad day.
Oh, it's go. Oh,
and just plop.
So hearts go out to Gilmore Space. Really appreciate the fact that they're, again, being so transparent about this and providing us with this information, and just more power to them. Can't wait to see them continue with this test campaign once they're able to get the thing back in the barn and get a new fairing on there and try again.
Yeah. It's worth noting, though, they did say that they don't plan on having a live stream for when they actually do go for the attempt as of now.
So what you're saying is I should go to Australia?
Yeah,
mate.
You and Max have already been to New Zealand. Now you just both need to go to Australia.
That would be amazing, honestly. But sorry, I interrupted you. Please do continue.
No, I was going to say, I mean, they said that their main focus, and you see the tweet there, or X post, excuse me, on the screen now, they're basically saying their main goal is getting all the systems working and checking everything out with the range and the rocket, and they don't want any extra network traffic. I guess it's a shame, though, that we don't get, like you said, the live view of the fairings doing an oops.
It would be pretty great. I mean, come on. We got to see Astra send a rocket out of a gate. Like, it literally went through the gate. Like, come on. Like, spaceflight fans everywhere need this footage. It will only, it'll only be good for you. People already know what happened.
Yeah. I mean, dude, who knows if the cameras are even rolling? You're not having the cameras rolling 24/7, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, even if it's like a security cam.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be 4K cinematic slow-mo of the fairing going like, no. Like, it can just be a security cam. Like,
or just a picture from the ground of just a sad fairing half on the bottom of the launch pad looking up at the rocket.
Hey, fellas, over in Twitch chat, I got a link to the Gilmore Space's LinkedIn, and it said they said that it in fact was an electrical fault on the rocket that popped the fairing.
Oof.
Here, let me see if I can.
I think fault is an understatement, but yes.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean, dude. It's just an unknown. You don't know to not touch the thing at a certain time. Like, maybe it wasn't tagged out or something. Like, there's always something. It's always something weird like that you just don't think about. Unknowns are there for a reason. Like,
don't touch to the tips. Got it.
Yep.
Don't cross the streams.
Yep.
Don't. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Let's do some questions. We do have some people asking, like Mighty Unlikely asking, does insurance cover a fairing mistake?
Probably not.
Probably not. I mean, it's pre-flight activities. It might be covered under pre-flight activities. I'm not sure. That's a fair
mean-
question, though. Like, I feel like it might have been in jest, but
If you remember, though, going back to AMOS 6, there was an argument ongoing at the time about the insurance provider
right.
of would they cover it, because technically that insurance for AMOS 6 only covered in-flight anomalies, and since that was an on-ground testing event, even though eventually it did kind of get some airtime unexpectedly, there was a fight of getting them to actually cover it, because they said, no, that wasn't an in-flight event.
yeah.
So it could be the same thing here of if there was insurance, or if the Vegemite company will reimburse them for that jar. But
No, the jar was fine. The jar was fine. Thank you,
right,
Jay.
so
Jay,
there's no need for the insurance.
for highlighting the relevant text there. During final launch preparations last night, an electrical fault triggered the system that opens the rocket's nose cone. Okay, yeah, thanking people. I want to thank people, and we should do some more questions. But Blake, at the top of the show, Blake Alexander gifted 50 Red Team memberships. So thank you so much, Blake. That is absurd. On top of already absurd amounts of support from you, buddy. If your name just turned green in chat, now you have access to a bunch of sweet perks as part of the membership program. And also, you should be cool and thank Blake, because that was extremely generous of them. Thank you, Blake. Drew Nar, thanks for the super. They say professional merch model or just moonlighting. No comment. EJ is the professional. I'm just a guy. I think I know what they're talking about. I hope. Anyways, the Mighty Don Don, thank you for gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Also very generous of you. And Roseanne DeVasto, what's up? Always see your name pop up too. They say just watch Hidden Figures. Great film. It is a great film. I think I watched that on a plane
So good.
at one point. More questions. Adrian is asking, do you lot even know what Vegemite is? Yes.
I do.
Yeah. Never
Right.
had it, but I know
Right.
of it.
I've had Vegemite and Marmite.
Mate, I don't keep a nice tin of Tim Tams on my desk for no reason.
Tim Tams are so good, though.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty well versed in this kind of thing.
How are you just good at all voices? Like, how is that just a skill that you have? Like, what?
Well, what you do is every day, after you come out of the shower, you stare and look at the mirror like real close, and you practice. That's what you do, mate.
But what
Or
happens?
he's watched way too much Crocodile Hunter. Rest in peace, Steve Irwin.
Yeah, that'll also help.
What happens when your wife walks in while you're practicing?
Nothing. She just thinks I'm weird.
Hey, she put the ring on it, so take that as
That's
you
right.
will.
Ninja Decimator Pew Pew Pew. Yeah, thanks for
All right.
gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Steve Kalovic, thank you as well for the super chat to say, hey fellas, my favorite 3. Shh, don't tell the others. Can NSF editors Photoshop Jack in a Santa outfit with kilts? No, absolutely not.
Shock.
Yeah, thanks for that. And Chromatic, thanks for gifting a
welcome.
Red Team membership. Love you, EJ. Love you so much, buddy. So bummed you're not going to be here for Flight 9. I'm so
Sorry.
which we were going to talk about here in a little bit. But a couple more questions, I think, Gilmore related. That diabetic kid is saying at least they didn't launch during their static fire. Fair. That's fair. You don't want to, don't want a pizza when you're supposed to French fry, or vice versa.
Gonna have a bad time.
Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. Here's one that I am not smart enough to answer, but I'm hoping EJ or Sawyer are. Does Australia have a good latitude for orbital insertion? Asks Night No Day. Do they have a good latitude for orbital
You
insertion?
want this one, or should I take it, mate?
What?
I said, Sawyer, do you want this one, or should I take it, mate?
I think you should take it, mate.
All right. Yeah, Australia's not bad. Not a bad place to launch from, especially if you're on the northeast side of Australia. That's actually pretty dang close to equatorial. But, Jack, I got a bone to pick with launch sites. Because of Kerbal, and I'm saying this as somebody that's put a lot of hours into KSP, right?
You? No.
Yeah, I know, right? Everybody's like, oh, you got to launch from the equator. You got to launch from the equator. You got to launch from the... No. Launching from the equator is good for getting into equatorial orbits.
Right.
Hence the equator.
Right.
But if you really want a truly versatile launch site, you'd want something between 20 and 40 degrees north or south latitude. And a lot of Australia's east coast is basically where Bowen is, where the Bowen spaceport is I think it's 32 degrees south latitude. That's perfect. So something like mid-Atlantic regional, so like Wallops or something like the Cape, I think are really, really good launch sites because you're afforded polar or equatorial. If you try to launch polar from an equatorial launch site, you got to keep up a lot of delta V because you have to counteract the spinning force.
Okay,
right?
hear
You
me
need more
out.
delta V that way.
Hear me out.
And polar is vice versa. What's up?
Equatorial launches from Vandenberg.
Ew. No.
I-
Come on, Western
Uh,
Equatorial Corridor. Come on, let's go.
Southern
I mean,
Polar
you-
Launch Corridor? Yes. Western Equatorial Launch Corridor?
Let's go, baby.
what are we talking about here, Jack? Are we talking about sending the rocket due east out of out of Lompoc?
Yeah. I didn't expect this to go on this long. We can move on.
I mean, they could do an
now we're on
RTLS, I
this topic.
suppose. I mean, yeah, you could. There's not much. There's kind of. I think there's a Bakersfield in the way at that point. Like, probably don't want that coming down there, but I mean, it's doable. You could, right? Also, I'm pretty sure SpaceX could hit a low inclination out of Vandenberg, doing a dogleg left out, like launching due south and then hooking out over Baja California. Pretty sure they've done that for Starlink missions. You could. I was doing the math at one time. You could hit like. You could basically get to the ISS doing that if you really wanted to. You could launch the South Polar out of Vandenberg if you launched on the descending node. So I'm going to speak orbital mechanics here for a second. If you launched on the descending node of the ISS at 51.6 degrees inclined, you launched on the descending node, you could get it. Like Falcon 9 could get a Dragon to the ISS out of Vandenberg. It's doable.
That's
Because
amazing.
the Starlink missions that... What's that?
I was gonna. How do you think they get the Pacific splashdowns from the ISS?
Yeah.
Right.
Neat. Well, thank you for
you can.
indulging my insanity. I'm here for it.
So
But yeah, no.
going back...
East Coast, West Coast. If you're at that point, just launch it out of Florida because much better.
Yeah. Of course. Now, once again, going back to that, yeah, Australia is not a bad place, dude, because you're gonna get, even at like the northern parts of the continent, like you can get pretty close to equatorial. But I still will say that between 20 and 40 degrees is good because that affords you you could get to either polar or equatorial out of there with a good enough rocket. So yeah, definitely, dude. Absolutely. You could absolutely get, Australia's a great place for a launch site. Yeah, not bad at all.
We also have Keon, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, saying, I worked with Gilmore to make an official KSP mod. Go look it up. What?
Sweet.
Ooh.
That's sick.
Check the staging.
Yeah, check the
Go
staging on the
staging.
mod. Nice, Sawyer.
Thank you.
Good. I don't even. You're too quick. Severin is asking, how long do you think it will take to replace the fairing and attempt launch again?
Okay. They're saying an electrical fault. That you would really want to figure out exactly, not guess. You would want to figure out exactly what caused that, and then try to mimic the result. Maybe with hardware out of the loop testing or something. Obviously, you don't want to put another rocket on the pad and pop the fairing, right? Like, oh, look, we lost another fairing. My, have you lost another submarine? Anyway, sorry. That can never low. No? All right, cool. I'm rambling. No, they're probably going to need to do an all-up check on the rest of the vehicle. That's what I would do. Like, not that it counts because I just play KSB, but I got a nice Hawaiian shirt though, so like, I mean, look, it's experience, right?
Which we should talk about. I'm just going to use that as the segue. I'm just going to use that as a segue right there. Why not?
Do it.
We have a summer collection in the store, and that includes sweet Hawaiian shirts, just like the one EJ is wearing. There's a bunch of cool stuff on the shirts. Like the design has, in typical NSF fashion, a whole bunch of cool little Easter eggs and things. EJ, what have you noticed any cool stuff on the shirt? I see dragons.
Yeah, there's dragons on it. There's dragons. There's the NSF logo. There's dragons.
No, but the shirts, well, there's been a lot of work on the part of the store team on the Hawaiian shirts, and I gotta say, it's looking good. Is it wearing good?
Here, let me.
You approve?
Yeah, no, it's comfy, super comfy. This would be, I will say, this would be really good. Like if you're out in the dunes at Boca Chica in the middle of the summer and you're trying to stay nice and cool, this would be really good. This would be really good. You know,
Yeah.
that you would want to do that because this is a nice. It's nice. It seems like it's dry fit, but it's really light. So, yeah.
Hey, EJ,
You know,
wasn't there Crew 9 that
nice and
came
cool.
back or something, and around their dragon capsule there was a whole bunch of dolphins swimming?
Shrew 9.
Yep.
Isn't that also like on your shirt right now, dude? You got dolphins
There
swimming
are-
around your dragon
Yes,
capsule
there are
on your
dolphins
shirt.
and
The answer is
dragons.
yes. There's dragons and dolphins. And a
Look here.
Nice. But that's not all. There's not just the Hawaiian shirts. There's also the super heavy swim club collection, which you know, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about it here in a little bit when we get to the Starship section. But you know, maybe it's a good timing to get a super heavy splashdown or super heavy swim club shirt or towel or what have you, given what we've learned or what we think we know or what is potentially rumored for Flight 9. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, head on over to the
Man.
merch shop. It's a huge way that you can support what we do, and you get something cool in return, and we really appreciate it. And we try not to be annoying with these plugs, but like we absolutely depend on y'all's support to do what we do, including the merch store. So thank you for listening to us blab. How about we talk about the next topic?
Dang, all this merch pluggy is making me very thirsty. Thankfully, I have this beautiful tumbler here that I also got at shop.nasaspaceflight.com with the heat shield tiles on it. And it's cold.
This is the part where I would stand up and be wearing the swim trunks, but I'm not wearing the swim trunks right now. But they're really
I
great.
was gonna say, who's modeling the swimsuits for us, guys?
Have you seen X?
No comment. Don't
If you need somebody,
don't
let me
poke
know.
around the web. Don't like that merch page, like the Jay was. Don't poke around
I'll
that
do it.
too much.
Also, didn't Adrian tweet something out fantastically on
I need
X?
somebody. Let me go. I got
Wait.
sweet dad bod going. It's pretty awesome.
Wait, he tweeted it? No,
Oh, he
no,
did.
Sawyer's messing with me. Hey, Sawyer, tell us about Terran R updates.
There it is. Thank you, Jay.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
Hey, Sawyer, tell us about Terran R updates.
No, I'm liking that too much. All right, fine.
And he's gone.
And
He's gone. He's gone. It's all gone.
Oh boy. Well then.
You good? Go.
Yeah, let's pretend that we didn't see that, and let's talk about 3D printed rockets and stuff here.
love it.
'Cause,
Go for it, man.
all right. Anyway, so Relativity Space. They are a really cool company. They do lots of 3D printed stuff with their rockets. You remember they had that first Terran 1 flight that was pretty much an entirely 3D printed rocket. They flew it once and said, nope, now we're on to our reusable version, Terran R. And we just got some updates this week on Terran R specifically. So, in terms of the engines, the Aeon engines that they'll be using, they did a whole bunch of cool testing with those. We got to see some video of them actually gimbaling during their test. And in case you're wondering about where they're doing a lot of the engine testing and a lot of the testing for some of their ground equipment, it is at the Stennis Space Flight Center in Mississippi at the historic A2 test stand. You're like, oh, okay, cool, A2, what does that mean? Well, that is the same test stand that did the engines for Apollo, for the J2s. They also did the RS-25s for Shuttle, the RS-25 expendables for SLS. all tested at the same spot. So they've rented that out. So they're doing all the cool testing there. I mean, look at that engine. You gotta love a Methalox rocket, which once again we have Methalox for this particular vehicle.
Wait, can we
they're
go back to
working-
that? Sorry, can we go back to that photo really quick? I just want to note that the engine itself is a little bit blurry. Like, look at the plumbing up there. That means the camera was getting shook like all get out. And I think that's cool. The camera lived, hopefully, but at least they got the memory card out of it because that's a really cool photo. Anyways, I'm done. Sawyer, please continue.
Shooketh, I tell you, shooketh. And so they're also working on the structural test stand for Terran R. Obviously, speaking of the shaking, they've done a whole bunch of vibration testing, not just on their cameras, but on a lot of the hardware for it, the thermals, the insulation. You could see some of the stands that are now being built to do that testing in their facilities in Long Beach, California. So, and you were talking about doing some out-of-the-loop testing to test all the systems and everything without accidentally blowing a fairing. Well, guess
Yeah.
what? They've actually done some of the software testing. So they are just about ready to move from the out-of-the-loop testing to the into-the-loop testing. So actually getting all of the integrated hardware and everything they need as opposed to just computer simulations of all of it. So that is getting exciting. And then, of course, we can't forget about the Cape, because East Coast, Best Coast, and they will be launching from the East Coast, Best Coast. And LC16, which you've seen updates from in all of our KSE flyovers, and if you haven't, why aren't you watching them? You should also subscribe. We finally have some of the steel columns and things going up for the horizontal integration facility. That's the HIF, kind of like SpaceX has at 39A and 40, to get it assembled to then be able to roll it out and raise it vertical. So they are getting really close to that, and as of now, they are still targeting a launch of no earlier than next year for Terran R, the R again being reusable.
So exciting. I'm
I love this program.
Yeah, me too. I'll forever be bummed that I wasn't there for Terran's launch, but holy cow. Like,
Where were
Terran
you?
R. It's gonna be awesome. I'm sure Relativity is going to hit it out of the park. I have confidence. I have faith, and it's gonna be beautiful. Let's do some Relativity questions. How about?
Yeah, I mean, they almost made it to staging on their first ever flight. That was pretty cool.
Indeed, it is very cool. Mighty Unlikely is asking, is the 3D printed part process inexpensive enough to be used for mass production, i.e. hundreds
No.
of star...
No, it almost bankrupted them.
Okay, but do you think costs could come down over time?
No. No, I don't think so at all. I mean, dude, I'm not like rooting for anybody's failure or demise here. This is a hard business to get into, and I respect anybody that has the water bag, so to speak, to get into this kind of business. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But so Relativity, originally had their pitch was to basically 3D print all of their tankage and stuff. And Jack, you talked about scalability. Now you're talking about scalability for production costs, which is, obviously you make more of it, right? If you make more, the cost is going to go down because, you're recouping the cost on the tooling and everything. Relativity tried to scale their 3D printing method to a Terran R-sized rocket, and it did not work. Self-admittedly, in their own update videos, it didn't work. They could not scale. They could not make bigger barrel segments. Actually, they had problems with the dome piece of the tanks. They couldn't do it. So they went to an ISO or orthogrid, billet aluminum orthogrid structure, which is kind of industry standard at this point. But they still do use some 3D printing for strengthening the combustion chamber walls in their rocket engines. But they have been shying away from 3D printing. Their tank structure is not 3D printed. The domes aren't 3D printed. The fairings aren't 3D printed. It's just some processes in the engines that are using their original kind of elevator pitch idea. They've moved to more industry standard stuff, which is kind of, it's kind of a heck of a pivot. But yeah, that almost cost them. Relativity recently did get a huge investment from an ex-Google CEO, Eric Schmidt, I believe. Someone's going to need to fact check me on that.
No, that's correct.
Sure.
We actually did have a question from Amiga Clone asking any clue about Relativity's finances that kind of dovetails with this.
yeah, they almost went belly up because they couldn't scale that 3D printing technology. Now that from a technical standpoint, not from a mass production standpoint. So yeah, I mean, I want them to do good. I wish them all the best. You know, like I said, anybody that enters this business, you know, puts their money where their mouth is, or an investor's money at this point. But it's a hard business to get into, and I really have a lot of respect for those guys over there to kind of see it through. You know,
Right.
it's good stuff.
I mean, hopefully with Eric Schmidt's, you know, financial infusion, shall we say, like and I don't know, I assume guidance, leadership, you know, they're able to see Terran through to success. So I know we all want to see it.
I hope so, because here's your Sawyer Flex of the Flame Trench. I was actually at their facilities in Long Beach a couple of years ago when they were doing the actual 3D printing still at that point. They had 3 massive chambers, essentially, that were all just dedicated to try to 3D printing. And we're not talking like a, you know, plastic PLA extruder like you would have for one at home. We're talking the laying it out with a thin type of like metallic powder and then basically lasering it into place to kind of help solidify it as it worked its way up. It was quite the thing to see, but it was, I mean, even then you can kind of tell it was not sustainable. How long it took to build everything, the precision with which it needed to be done. It was a really cool design, and they put a lot of investment into it, which is why it's kind of nice to see them pivot, and why I do worry about them financially. They went all in on that 3D printing and very quickly realized we went all in on the wrong thing.
I mean, just
That's
want
the
to
business,
3D
man.
print some frickin' rockets with frickin' lasers. Is that so much to ask?
Yeah, we had them liquidated. They were insolent.
Roxy's asking about what about 3D printed space stations or structures? 3D printing in space is interesting. Like, you can't necessarily have a whole frickin' 6-axis CNC or whatever milling tools in space, can you?
I
They
don't
have
see why not.
3D. I mean, they have a 3D printer on the ISS. They've had one for years. I trying to remember what the company's called. I think it was Made in Space. I've met them at a couple of conferences. They brought entire parts that they built on the space station. So, for example, a wrench that they needed, one
Yeah.
of them floated away. They 3D printed a new one. Boom. So, for small scale, I think it's really a good thing. I don't see that as a way really for making full scale space stations. And again, considering when you have to have something that's pressurized, that's structurally sturdy, that can withstand the temperature changes, something, again, issues like when you're trying to make a dome structure where you need everything to be super tight and, you know, thermally protected. At that point, we've proven with Beam that it's easier probably just to do something inflatable than it would be to 3D print.
Oh, Beam.
Yeah.
Bigelow
Beam.
Aerospace. Just makes me sad every time.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do, indeed?
Well,
Pop it
I
like
mean,
it's it.
dang. Actually, you know, Jack, you know what's funny? Like they NASA actually Bigelow gave all their patents for like expendable activity modules back to NASA, and then NASA has been farming that out to like Lockheed and Sierra and other things. So, you know, it wasn't all for nothing, right? Like, just really would have liked to see a BA 2100. That would have been pretty cool.
It feels like one of those things in space flight. We're way off the beaten path at this point. but Sawyer said
When are we
Beam,
on
so here we go.
rails?
Whee!
When are we ever on rails?
Right. But no, like, it feels like one of those things in space flight where had things gone a little bit differently, you know, like, were it not for the flip of a coin, Bigelow and the entire course of the last 20 years in space flight could have been very different. But alas, this is the timeline we've got. I do want to thank some more people, and then we'll move on to our next topic, Areno. Does that sound
Topic
good? Areno? Topic Areno? Is that... I don't know. I tried to channel Flanders for some reason. Eric Frazier.
Well, haddily doodly, Eric.
Eric Frazier, who has joined the cadre of SBL operators, I believe. At least he's in the work Discord now. God help us. Gifted a Red Team membership. Welcome, Eric. I'm watching you. Space Pope, the Space Pope. Thank you, Space Pope, for your customary weekly, seemingly, or streamly, $50 super. That's a huge amount of money. Thank you. They say, bless this trench and space be with you. Also, Space Pope gifted 50 Red Team memberships, matching Blake earlier. So thank you so much, Space
Whoa.
Pope. Always coming out with huge amounts of support. Bless your reptilian soul. Steve Kalovic, thank you for the support. They say, I saw that image and enhance. And no, don't enhance. No enhancing. It's Super
Enhance.
Troopers. We all know it's Super Troopers. Drew
Jack, can you
Nar,
get me a liter of
thank
cola?
you. They say Jay must have had that link pre-planned since Jack's job title was merch model at the opening of the show. Yes, not everything you see on TV is real, kids. And Telstar 86. Wait, yeah,
Really?
no, EJ, it's not real. Like they call it reality television, but it's completely fake.
What would you know? It's not like you worked in reality television or anything. Oh, wait.
And you've never met
Really?
any astronauts, and I never worked at Disney, and I loved it when I didn't work there. Telstar 86, when are they? Telstar 86 with his super chat saying, when are they? When they suggested the overall idea for Terran, was that the general theory of relativity?
Pun token, yes. Yes. Shocking.
Look at Jack's face. He's not amused.
I am not amused.
Whoa, Bobby, no. EJ, how about you tell us about what's going on over at Virgin Galactic? Please tell me something good. I love them so
Before
much.
you do that, I see Das is complaining about or asking, what was that Space Pope noise? Which apparently, speaking of Space Pope, didn't he send us something? Or didn't they send us something to look at, our reptilian overlord?
No, we don't have to
think
do
he
that.
did.
Do the silly
I can
music,
just
guess.
leave. I can just go away
Popping it out,
now, right?
Popping it back in again. These beefy boy legs. So what does that mean? You get it. You get the idea. You get it. You get the idea. You get it. Here's a friendly reminder, and I think this is a fair, educated guess. And you know what I always say: bagel, 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 bagel. More cream cheese, more better. And it's generally what I've been telling people when they ask me.
Was that really necessary?
It absolutely
Oh
was.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was totally required.
I like the part where he said bagel a lot.
Sawyer, tell us about relativity. Oh god,
already
tell us
did.
about. Oh no! Oh why? Tell us about Virgin Galactic. Tell us about something that's not me doing whatever AI slop that was.
That's
Chat, we're in
EJ
his head.
taking this one.
Chat, we're in his head. You see it? It's awesome.
But
Oh, is that Likey's? Likey's! Likey's!
She says hi.
Leica, did you know
Alright.
that your dad says weird things on the internet that Space Pope
She's-
makes into great music?
She's disappointed in Space Pope. Look at her. Look how disappointed she is.
She looks actually pretty happy.
I mean, she
Like-
always looks happy, but like this is disappointed happy.
Also, I think your
Mwah.
green screen is kind of off center.
Don't worry. Yeah, don't worry about that.
Wait, you mean you're not actually in front of the still image of Starbase that you've just been standing and then printed out?
It's somehow golden hour constantly. But yes, Virgin Galactic. Sawyer, what's going on? Please tell me something good,
No,
please. No, it's
EJ
EJ.
stop.
Yes,
I'm,
Sawyer.
I am just, you're in my head right now. All I can think
Told you.
about is everything that I'm doing wrong. I gotta go.
All right. You okay? All right. Virgin Galactic. So we got an update video from Virgin Galactic, and it was actually, pretty good update video, like of the top 10 like things that they've been working on. Long story short, they've announced a lot of new now I can't talk either. Dang, man. Jack, why did you do that?
You know, deal with it. How about that?
All
Deal
right,
with it.
All right, fine. We're gonna power through this. Ready?
Lock in.
Remember, you can't spell locked in without Lockheed Martin.
Wait, what?
What?
That's what I
That checks out.
Virgin Galactic has announced new updates on its path to get its Delta vehicle ready for launch. So its Delta vehicle is kind of like a Block 2 version of the spaceship that they fly. Now, when I say spaceship, I mean Virgin Galactic does suborbital tourism flights where they have a carrier plane and they drop a rocket-powered space plane off the carrier plane at a high altitude, and that thing shoots up into space, and then it comes back down and lands on a runway. it is pretty cool. But after the first couple of, I think they did 5 flights. That's where they got the design enough to a point where they needed to. There were a couple of things that they needed to fix. When I say a couple, I mean a lot. So they decided to roll out the Delta class vehicle, which is like, once again, that's like their Block 2, so to speak. The flight, as of last announcement, is still planned for 2026 for commercial flights, but the overall vehicle is redesigned for higher production volume. They're really trying to scale with this thing, which is pretty cool. Some of the things that they were working on is a BMI carbon composite oxidizer tank, carbon composite fuselage structure, and honestly, their video has tons of tooling. If you look at the video here, there's tons of tooling that they're like advanced jigs and tooling to actually put the vehicle together. Like there's the wing stands there, but actually in the next couple of shots here, they show it here. Yes, I'm actually waiting for it because I like this. This video's sick. They're working on the domes right there, and yeah, see if you look all the dang tooling that they're using right there, and especially in this next shot, where they show the tooling for the fuselage. Now, when I say tooling, I mean it's kind of like a cradle for the subassembly or piece that you're working on. There it is. Oh, that thing is cool.
Yeah, like when we talk about like a transport stand or what have you at Starbase, that's all tooling.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, they've redone all their tooling. They're redoing their assembly lines to optimize around this Delta class vehicle. They have wing skins that already arrived at the factory. The first 2 cabin bulkheads, that's what they're working on right there. They're actually making the fuselage of this plane kind of like think of it like think of it like clamshell fairings, right? And then they put it on this jig and then they make one good fuselage out of it, because that's how you kind of have to work with BMI carbon composite. It's kind of like, I'm not going to say like fiberglass, but you have to lay it in a similar manner.
Right.
That's
you
what
lay
they were
it up,
doing.
you impregnate it with the whatever resin, and then you put it in a giant oven and cook it.
An autoclave. Yep.
Fancy.
Yep. So
go ahead.
The next thing that they're working on here is that the What?
Sorry, Jay. I am gonna give you a challenge here. Can you go back? There was a blue machine that said Thermotron on it. It just looked cool. That's my only. That's there it is. There. Oh, go back to the right. To the right. To the right.
To the left.
To the right. To the right. A little more.
Gantry crane
no, too
right
far.
there.
No, too far.
That's it. A little more to the right.
Before that. This is great. There it is. Yeah. Yeah, hit play. Just hit play.
Yeah, I was just hit play and pause.
Just hit play. I love you, Jay. I'm sorry.
You did.
Thermotron. Yeah, that's a good TV. All right, EJ, continue. I'm sorry.
Wait, we just spent 5 minutes making Jay scroll through that just for that comment?
Look at it. It's a Thermotron. You don't want to get a good look at a Thermotron?
Hey, what? You can get a good look at a Thermotron by sticking your head up there, but you'd rather take his word for it.
Rather take a rocket engineer's word for it.
I thought that was going to be a turbo encabulate anyway.
It's got to be your rocket.
Oh, my God.
So they're doing avionics testing there, hardware out of the loop test, or some hardware out of the loop testing, some hardware in the loop testing. Hardware in the loop versus out of the loop testing is basically you're running the software to run the rocket with the hardware or without the hardware, right? They're wrapping a composite overwrap pressure vessel there, and then here those are all landing gear subassembly or landing gear components to make the landing gear subassembly. A lot of this is machine eye candy right here. I was going to say something else. It's machine eye candy. This is all, the hardware is amazing. Guys, what about thermoquads? I love thermoquads. Yeah, plastic carburetors. All right. There's some more software suite and MFD testing right there. But what I always tell people over on my stream, I do stream on Twitch most of the time. What I always tell people over there is that, talk is cheap in the space flight industry. It's very
absolutely
cheap. Anybody could say oh, we're going to build the next thing that's going to be better than Falcon 9. I could say I'm going to the moon tomorrow. And what's the next question that I'd get? Well, what rocket are you flying on, right? Show me the hardware. And Virgin Galactic, these companies, Virgin Galactic, with what Relativity was talking about, or with what Sawyer was talking about Relativity earlier, that's what I'm trying to say. These companies don't put this stuff out just for fun. It is cool stuff, but they put it out to show, look at the hardware that we got. That simulator is amazing, and I want it. you see a company that's manufacturing a lot of stuff. That's how you know they're for real, because the manufacturing and development that's expensive. So if you see a company rolling out with all this hardware, fuselage, new assembly lines, tooling, jigs, all that stuff is expensive. That means they're putting their money where their mouth is, and that means they're serious about it. That's pretty much generally a good rule of thumb. Company says we're working on an engine. If they show you the engine, right, there you go. It's there. But if they say, oh, we're working on this, and they don't show anything, you'd be more inclined to be like, all right. The one exception to this is Blue. Blue doesn't say anything, and then they just roll out with a rocket out of their, like a huge rocket just comes out of their factory, and it's just like, oh yeah, we've had that. Of course we've had that. Why wouldn't we? It's like, oh yeah, no, I'm not upset, dude. Like, that's the one exception. But like with generally with like small space startups, show me the hardware. Right?
Show me the money.
Virgin, yeah, show me the hardware. Show me the money. Oh, Jack, doesn't make you feel good just to say that? Say it with me. Show me the money.
No,
You're not gonna keep going with the bid.
Why not?
Nope, no satisfaction. Actually, I don't think I've actually seen. What is it? What movie is it? Is Jerry Maguire?
That was Jerry Maguire, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
What?
I'm aware of it. I haven't
Of
seen
all
it. I need to
people.
watch it. I need to watch it.
And see,
I
I
know,
was
I
gonna
just-
give you a
I-
I was gonna give you a cool promo and plug of like, hey, EJ, remember how you're saying that simulator looks really cool? Well, guess what? Jack actually got to go inside of it, and then we have a video about it. Now I'm not gonna plug it anymore. No, Jay, take it down off the screen now. He doesn't deserve the plug for the awesome video that's here on NSF.
It was really cool. I almost butted in while we were watching the update video from Virgin when they showed the simulator. I was like, "Hey, Doss and I have been in there." That was a really special treat.
That's cool. Look at how serious you look in that picture.
I look really unserious in a second when he goes to launch, and I pretended I was feeling the G-forces, and I think it was Lauren Grush in the seat behind me who was like, "Seriously, dude?"
Yes, seriously. Hey man, I work. I wrench on old cars. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes I sit in the driver's seat and go. I make the vroom vroom noises, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
I am
We
though.
all
That's
do.
the thing.
Why?
Fun fact: that's called a stoke or a yick, not a yoke or a stick, because it's a combination of both. And you would know that if you watched the video.
But it said feather on it. Why?
Feather? Because that's what it's doing right now. It's called feathering. It's like a mad bitten thing, whatever that thing's called.
Wouldn't that be a
Shuttlecock?
Blue Origin thing? Because they have the feather in their logo.
Sawyer.
Yes.
No.
Come on, Jay. It wasn't that bad.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh,
All right.
dear.
Well, I've been worried that we wouldn't see Virgin Galactic get to the point where they're actually flying Delta class ships. But this update really makes me happy because, like you said, EJ, they're showing hardware.
Yep.
And
That's the key.
That gives credence to the words that they are saying. So that's good.
Absolutely.
We've streamed Virgin Galactic launches in the past. They're a really cool company. I want to see more Virgin Galactic launches. Me personally, if you could say, Jack, what suborbital spaceflight thing would you fly on? Hands down, I would pick Virgin Galactic first, personally.
Really?
Over New Shepard, really?
Hands down. No question.
Huh.
Oh, do you want to go in the amusement park ride, or do you want to go in the only human-piloted spacecraft on the planet? I'll take the second thing, thanks.
Yeah, but
That's a
I
very
like
good
the idea of lifting off like an actual rocket. It just feels more traditional to me.
That's fair. I mean, you are nothing if not a traditionalist when it comes to rockets and also bagels.
Yes, exactly. AKA
Good stuff.
correct.
EJ, it looks like there's
Hello?
something going on behind you. What?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. What's?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What's going on over there, buddy? It looks like they're lifting up some
Load simulation?
big old bags of water.
Yeah.
Big old water bags. No, they're testing.
Yeah.
They're testing the chopsticks on Pad B. Hooray!
Yeah, those are load simulators. They're load simulators for making sure that the chopsticks can actually lift stuff up that is analogous to the mass of the vehicles that they'll be moving, namely Super Heavy and Starship. They're also spherical. So, okay, right. What are those technically? Those are water bags, guys. It is just a big bag that they fill up with water because that's a really, really inexpensive way of doing mass simulator testing. If you think about like, okay, you're not going to test with a booster on there, right? You don't want to do that because what if it doesn't work? And then you check your staging, right? It might do a premature hop, right? To do you zoomed in.
Snap zoom. Wow.
So this is a very inexpensive way to do load simulator testing. Basically, they fill these things up with water. Could be potable, could be non-potable. I don't know. It might have to go through an industrial process. Who knows? You got that one. Good for you. But those are there to basically put strain on the chopsticks to make sure that they're good to go to do their chopstickial duties. That's your word of the day.
Right. I mean, like you said, you don't want to be doing this sort of testing on a new set of sticks with a vehicle, because if it goes bad, then you've just messed up a vehicle. So you do it with big old ballast bags.
Tracts of land.
We need to come up with a backronym that spells a backronym. Like when NASA will like come up with a fun acronym for a mission.
Do you call it a backronym?
Yeah, a backronym. That's when you do it after the fact.
I know what that means.
We should come up with a backronym for these ballast bags.
I'm editing a video about acronyms, and that makes no sense.
What?
You've never heard the word backronym before?
Yeah, really?
No, I've never heard of backronym. I've heard of back knee, but that's just back acne. You know what I've also heard?
How are you a shuttle nerd and you've never heard of a... Okay, all right.
You know
what else?
Heard,
do your do your segue. Do your segue. Go ahead.
No, what I also heard, Jack, is something from the FAA in regards to Flight 9. You want to take the read of what it says on the screen, Jack, for your disappointing pleasure?
Yeah, and I was right about to introduce it. Thank you. They say the license... This is from the FAA to NSF. So this is a statement from our own Adrian Bile that they got from the FAA. So thank you, Adrian, for that. But basically, with the license modification, no catch is in store for Flight 9. Here's the quote. The license no longer includes the launch site as a destination location. Does that mean that this current license would not permit a landing back at the launch site at the chopsticks? That was the question. The answer is correct. Contact SpaceX for information on its Flight 9 mission profile. Cool. So it sounds like the rumor that there will be no catch on Flight 9 can now be treated as fact. There you go. The question from many of our viewers throughout today's episode, and even still right now, is why? John Cook asking, is Booster 14-2 doing a splashdown so they don't have to feel the pain of cutting it up like they did with Ship 26? Ramo Cubing is asking, why no catch? Columnist is asking about the orange balls. We already covered that. Lawrence, why has it been decided to not do a catch on Flight 9? So what are our theories? Why might they throw this booster away? I mean, right off the bat, I think storage space at the launch site in Sanchez is at a premium. Like, at a certain point, you just throw the booster away to not have to store it. But yeah, I don't know. Let's come up with our own crackpot speculative theories. How about that? That sounds fun. No?
No, I'm thinking. Give me a second.
Yeah.
If you see smoke coming out of my ears, it's because I might be doing it a little too hard.
Oh, you're good. I mean,
Okay,
just get the brain cells lighten up. They might spit out something useful. You never know.
Yeah, let's get the hamster wheels going.
I guess chat. Why might they not do a catch on Flight 9? Like, what are your theories if we take it as fact, especially given this FAA statement?
So,
why?
I mean, people over in Twitch are saying old design. Yeah, that could be it. Honestly, like, okay, if I'm thinking about it, Jack, like it's the next like if SpaceX likes to iterate, they like to iterate on the design. The next iterative step, with this is to um, not land it. Like the next iterative step in booster reuse is to just make sure that it can ascend again, right? Uh,
Yeah.
That's the next thing to do, right?
Prove a flight proven booster works.
Yeah. So you'll see booster 14 kind of operating like how basically every booster before. So the first four, right? Well, except for flight 1. So 2, 3, 2, 3, and 4. You'll see how you'll see a profile similar to that. And if it proves it can do a precision landing, then you might maybe we'll see a catch in the future. On the other hand, it could just be no room. I did hear a pretty good theory that they might be flying a this is a I'll hold off on that. I heard a good theory that it might be due to the ship flying a different ascent profile to kind of help mitigate the problems that they've had on past missions, right? They might have been flying it. They might fly it on a different ascent profile that, I don't know, might mitigate some harmonic oscillations. And this different profile would basically allow Super Heavy to use more of its fuel, the fuel that it would use for landing, to push the ship to a higher trajectory where it gets up to a point where no fires can start. Which actually is pretty good. Saw that from a guy. Pretty good stuff. That's not a bad theory, to be 100% honest with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. To be clear, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I mean, it certainly feels like we're still at the Kerbal stage of this program. These are all still prototypes. They're still figuring out how to get to Seco somehow. And maybe they're going to try a different profile with the booster to see if they can get the ship, like you're saying, to a higher altitude, or things start to get wonky there. Maybe they're testing something. I see somebody, I forgot, I think it was Alien in chat who said maybe they're testing an engine out entry burn. Didn't they already do that? But yeah, like maybe it's something booster side. Who knows? Maybe it's a more aggressive entry profile, and that you don't want to risk having the booster slam into the launch site. I mean, we've seen with Falcon 9 over the years how they've eked out little optimizations here and there, changing the landing burn, changing things as they get more data on the system. And I just feel like this is another part of that with Flight 9. I see a lot of people lamenting, like, oh, why are they throwing it away? Why no catch? It's the end of the world. It seems like a step backwards. It's just testing, man. They're just going to do some testing. They're going to get some more data, and they'll use that to inform the next version of Booster, which, oh, by the way, is coming up. So you probably want to stress test the current design to see, hey, where do we have margin? Maybe they do something crazy. The ship like extra hot stages. I don't know. I'm not a rocket scientist. And if the booster lives, they're like, great, we just added 2 tons of payload to the ship or something like that, just by doing an extra spicy maneuver. But yeah, I'd see a lot of people lamenting it. I really don't. I don't think it's the end of the world. Sawyer, what's Sawyer's take?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not the main reason, but can I just put it out there, the idea that SpaceX has kind of blown up 2 missions in a row, and now we're talking about reflying a booster for the first time. And if something goes wrong, you kind of don't want it to be like, hey, now it's doubly wrong, or either the ship worked or it didn't, but now we have a booster issue. I don't think they want it to come across as any issues, because they're not. As you pointed out, this is the next generation booster in line will be coming up. This is still of the old school in a way. So it's one less risk to worry about. You can focus on the main priority of the mission, which really is finally getting a ship into its suborbital trajectory and back in one piece before it's designed to become multiple pieces. Not over Turks and Caicos again. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the thing, is one less thing to worry about. Yes, they could. I know the argument of, well, they could launch it, and then if things aren't right, then they just hit the no-go on the comeback to catch and all that. I think this flight, the focus is the ship. They've kind of got the booster down to this point. It's cool that we're reflying it. Obviously they'll want to see how structures hold up, but I think key point of this flight is just get the ship on its trajectory farther than it has the last 2 flights. So I think that's the main focus, and the rest is kind of just added bonus.
Mhm.
Drew Nar, this is a question
Yeah.
for Alex, who I hope is watching. Say, didn't they do the same thing with Falcon 9 Block 4? Just started expending boosters before Block 5?
That's what it felt
That-
like, at least.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Guys, I just want to say that the different ascent profile theory, that's actually not mine. I can't take credit for it. That was Zach. That's Zach Golden over at CSI Starbase, who did a pretty dang good analysis. And I honestly, that's the theory I've heard that makes the most sense. But yeah, they did start expending Block 4s like crazy to make room for the Block 5. So Jack, your original theory of they just don't have the room does read that there's precedent there with how SpaceX has operated in the past.
Yeah. To be clear, I mean, I'm just wildly speculating, as we are wont to do on the Flame Trench. But, who knows? It would be really interesting if Elon does, in fact, do a Starship talk and we get to see it or parts of it in the near future, if we'll get some more color on that. But also, EJ, good. I appreciate you calling out Zach and CSI Starbase. He's been putting out some really great videos on the investigation, or his investigation into Flight 8 and 7 and what's going on. What the heck is going on with Ship? And...
Dude,
yeah,
Go
it's,
boom. That's what's going on with it.
yeah, oh god,
so
that's true.
The Pogo theory, suggests. So Zach's video suggests that my theory that I've been saying for a long time that the reason why they're having trouble with this Block 2 ship is because it ain't designed for Raptor 2. Block 2 is most likely designed for Raptor 3. His video. I'm not saying his video kind of corroborates that, but it kind of does. It's. I was like. They're a part. I've always said, like I've been saying on the stream, like the reason why they're having problems with the Block 2 ships is because you're using Block 1 propulsion, so to speak, on a Block 2 ship when you need Block 2 propulsion on a Block 2 ship, which is Raptor 3, and then all the accoutrement associated with that. Accoutrement? What is this?
I do love some good accoutrement.
Yep.
Wait.
Yep. So
Block 2 on a Block 2, which is Block 3.
Let's not. Didn't we already yell about this in last week or the week before?
It has returned. My confusion has returned 2 weeks in a row.
Let's not. In the list of cursed Starbase things, that is near the top. Along with, hey, guess what? When both towers start flashing, they're probably not going to be synced.
Oh, don't do that to me. No. No, I can't take it.
Gird yourself for it. It's going to happen. Okay, let's do it. We have a bunch of questions coming in that I think are actually really, really good, really interesting. So let's jump into some of these. Do we know if they'll even attempt a boost back or landing burn for the splashdown? I mean, EJ, to your theory, if they're, and like you said that you got from CSI Starbase, if they try and alter descent profile to really get Ship as much energy as possible, maybe they don't even save fuel for a boost back or landing burn. That, I don't know. I would have to comb through the paperwork. I have not looked at what the FAA put out today, but if we see anything of that indicates one way or the other, or if someone yells at me in the back channel, we will let you know. But yeah,
it's in the Gulf, by the way, in terms of the landing sites that were originally listed in that licensing. It does say the Gulf, they got rid of the part that said back to the launch site, and the Indian Ocean. So I think it still makes sense that it would just be, can you land it in the Gulf of Mexico without, or America, or whatever you want to call it, in the Gulf without a boost back?
I like calling it the Gulf of Amexida.
Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, moderators in advance.
Sawyer, I mean, even if you fly it all the way to fuel, expend you expend the entire super heavy, like use it all for ascent, it's still coming down in the Gulf. It's still gonna come down there. You need pretty. Yeah, I got you, man. You need a pretty significant amount of delta V to do a suborbital hop, proverbially, between Boca Chica and Florida. Like, there's no way it's getting anywhere near Tampa. You know what I mean?
That would be sick, though.
I mean,
I could tell my family to go outside and look.
A Starship, maybe eventually, if you want to do shakedown flights for a Starship, a Super Heavy could push it out of Boca Chica, and if they ever get overflight, data, like flying over land what's the way to say it? Like if they're ever able to fly Starship over populated areas without having to worry about it Turks and Caicos-ing something, yeah, you could potentially.
Is that like DOSing it now? Is
Yep.
Turks and Caicos-ing it?
Yep. Hey, don't DOS like me.
Here's one from Dave Dodd. I'll throw this at you, EJ. How does a solution for Starship fires that eliminates a booster catch help anything? Gives you re-entry data,
That's
which they
it.
desperately need.
That's really it. SpaceX needs some data on entry, descent, and landing. That they already have good data on the boosters. They don't need to catch another Block 1 because the Block 2 boosters coming down the pipe.
3.
Yeah, that's right. That's jeez. What?
Sorry.
Hey, didn't you say not do it? Didn't you say to not do that?
You're not
I know,
helping
but
here.
You just said don't do that, and then you DOS-lighted me.
Stop
I just said
gaslighting.
not. I just said don't do that, man. What is this? Your
it's a flame trench, baby.
Your tasted bagel sucks.
You're wrong.
Thank you.
Do it live.
Yes.
You're both wrong.
Yes.
You're both wrong.
Anyway, the next version of the booster is coming down the pipe. So yeah, they need. I think SpaceX's real big thing is get more data on entry, descent, and landing, and then really, I think they're really in a push to just get to orbit. Just get this thing on orbit. Get this thing on orbit so you can figure out how to do longer duration stays up on orbit, because that's quintessential for doing the refueling architecture that they're trying to go for. That's so important. It is a big deal. That needs to get done if we want to, use a Starship to get out to the moon and land on it eventually. This is all cornerstone technologies that need to get done. Like this is the long lead stuff. They have to get some data on entry, descent, and landing for rapid reuse, and they have to get some data for like in microgravity for on orbit. That's so important.
Yeah, I mean, booster reuse, even with Super Heavy, ultimately is a solved problem. The hard problem in the Starship program, and the whole reason the whole thing is designed the way it is for ship reuse. And so that is the main enchilada, as it were, for Flight 9. Hopefully they can get to SECO. I do want to show a thing on screen if Jay has it ready to go. Check this ancient tweet out.
GovSat.
Say what?
That's GovSat. That's the GovSat mission.
Oh, nice.
2018.
This is from, January 31st, 2018. And the quote that goes along with it is, the rocket was meant to test very high retro thrust landing in water, so it didn't hurt the drone ship, but amazingly it has survived. We will try to tow it back to shore. Pretty cool. So it goes to show that as these programs progress, they try, they tweak, they test different things. Maybe maybe the Kerbal phase is a good way to say it. Maybe it's not, but that's what I'm going to call it. We're in the Kerbal phase, because who knows what's going to happen on Flight 9. We might just have to be yelling, did it just do a Kerbal again?
Oh, God.
Iterative design is... Kerbal things happen when you do that.
And that's why we all love it. And also it is faster, maybe? But also Kerbal things happen.
Well, what does that iterative design mean at this point when you've had 2 failures in a row? Because, I mean, the first ones, I get it. You could say it blew up because they're testing and you learn from it. Yeah, absolutely. The first flight of a version 2 or upgraded, whatever you want to call it, ship, the next generation ships, blows up. Okay, you learn from it. Happens the exact same time, almost in the exact same way again on Flight 8. Now we're talking a different story. At what point now do you get to Flight 9? Can you call it iterative design versus we have a serious problem with our design?
It's a fair question. I do think if we see something not great on Flight 9 with the ship, we'll see like a multi-month stand down and perhaps even a move to straight to V3 ship. I don't know. Does that even make sense? Does that throw a wrench in the works and the cycle of design, test, fly, repeat? I don't know. I worry. I think Flight 9 is going to be a pivotal one.
I don't. If it fails, they'll fix it.
Yeah.
Look, it's a pivotal one in telling the story of SpaceX. And, everybody wants to just see the last 2 ones. It'd be a great triumph over it. If it fails, if it blows up, it freaking blows up. All right, that's iterative design. You just figured out, somebody just said this in my Twitch chat over there. You just figured out another way not to do it. There you go. Does anybody here honestly think that, if Flight 9 doesn't work, that SpaceX will be deterred? What are they going to run out of cash? Nah,
I wouldn't say they'd be deterred, but it certainly wouldn't look great. And, at a time when many people question the spend of, going to the moon and Mars and the space program in general, I just feel like it would be like throwing gasoline on the troll fire. And to a certain extent, you do what you always do: you ignore the trolls. But I would like the aftermath of Flight 9 to be like, yes, another step, and not like, oh, I'm gonna log off everything for a couple days because it's just a fire. No? Yes, maybe.
I mean, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I like the fire, dude. I like the troll. Look at me. I am the dumpster fire. Jeez. Like.
Not in that awesome shirt
fire.
from shop.nasaspaceflight.com, you're not.
Sorry, you beat me to it. You're too I literally said nada, and Sawyer was already like 3/4 of the way through the dang sentence.
Too quick.
It's like you almost finished each other's sentences. Yeah, all right. All right, anyway, sorry.
What am I even doing? No. The Hawaiian shirts are awesome, though. I do want to mention them again, and I forgot to mention. You may have noticed I was muted, but they are made in the U.S. We did a bunch of tests, and we wanted to, give you guys something that felt good and looked good. And as you can see, we've been testing them. EJ's wearing one right now. It's a good quality shirt, and again, made in the U.S.
Well, I tell you what, boy, there's nothing like a quality Hawaiian shirt made in the United States, the good old United States of America. Jack, you know what else comes from the United States?
What?
Propane. That's right, boy. Propane, good quality American-made shirts and propane. I mean, I'm just saying.
What about the accessories, though?
Yeah, oh yeah, those too, boy.
But I like charcoal.
Well, I'm gonna have to ask you politely but firmly to leave.
I like the orange one. I like the orange shirt. Surprise, surprise. I think that's the one I'm going to get. Although the yellow, I'm a fan of bright colors. As someone who normally just wears black jeans and a black t-shirt, sometimes you gotta put some color on.
Yeah, with a shirt that says Glenny on it. Sorry, that's your photograph shirt. My bad.
Yeah, no, it's a picture shirt.
The shirts aren't made of propane, Ryan. I tell you what, they're made of good quality American textiles. Is there a tag on this? Somebody asked.
Yeah, what is it? Is it like Lycra, rayon? What do you got? I worked at a dry cleaner once. Seriously though, I've done every weird job. Seriously though, check out the shirts in the. I almost said the Hawaiian store. Check out the Hawaiian shirts in the store. We would appreciate if y'all get some gear for summer and support us, because Lord knows we have a giant team of people bringing you content, and the team is descending on Starbase right now. So God help me. Aww. But seriously, it helps us keep the lights on, pay for data, pay for equipment, upgrades, people's time, all of that. And we really try hard to deliver cool merch. And don't forget, there's the Super Heavy Swim Club as well, coming in towel, mouse pad, tumbler, and various other forms, including swim trunks, which I have worn, and they are quite nice. Jack approved swim trunks. What's so funny, Sawyer?
It's just the photo on X.
Oh, right, yeah.
The swim trunks look great.
They do. They feel great. They look great. They wear great. They dry fast. They're good. They're a quality pair of swim trunks, and I'm a discerning
swim trunk enthusiast?
Trunker? Yeah, there you go. Let's go with that. Anyways, that's the merch. Check it out. We appreciate you.
Could you imagine our spaceflight enthusiast becoming a space trunk enthusiast?
No. And I don't want to. Please don't make me. Anyways, John Hansen is asking. No, wait. John Hansen's next. SpaceFacts is asking, what do you guys think the odds are of Ship 35 reaching orbit on Flight 9? Sawyer,
well,
give
0,
us an over-under.
It's not supposed to go to orbit.
Orbit-ish. How about that?
Okay, fair enough. Here's the thing. I would say that I have more confidence but we saw the first static fire, and that didn't go great. And then we saw the second static fire, and now we've seen Raptor replacement trucks going around. Ship 35 is not out where it should be for launch. I feel like there's still more issues that they're working. And the fact that the first test looked so similar to the issues of the other ones, the second one now they're still not 100%. Just it doesn't look right still. I'm not super confident. I'm going 65%.
I mean, it's better than 50-50. I'll give you that. That is not super confident though, especially for Flight 9. EJ, what do you think? What are the odds?
I think it'll make it. I think SpaceX has enough data at least to extrapolate a simulation to figure out what's going on with the harmonics of the vehicle. I think there's definitely enough info at this point. Like I said, you could plot the points, and you don't have the data for the later parts of Ascent, but from the static fires that we saw, the static fires that didn't work, Raptor testing, I think there's enough here to get this right. I think they're really going to be pushing to get this right, even if they just ease it up, like with Zach's like super heavy Ascent trajectory theory. I think they'll make it. But like once again, I'm going to say, if it doesn't, it doesn't. Oh, so what? So what? Launch another one.
So what? That's 3 in a row. That's 3 strikes you're out. The whole 3 kit and caboodle deal.
Okay,
Then
I'm just going to
Falcon
throw
1
this grenade out there. I'm going to throw this grenade in the room. I'm sorry for it. I'm sorry, mods. At what point, at what number of Starship flight test failures of an extremely visible nature does Jeff Bezos go to the current administration and say, hey, our moon lander's not going to blow up?
What lander?
Right.
That's a fair response. That's a fair response.
Neither of them have
What
one
lander?
right now.
And where's your lander? Oh wait, you don't have one.
So here is the static fire, the third static fire of Ship
Number
35.
3, yeah.
After an engine swap at back at the production site. Seemed like it went well. They rolled it back to the production site, but then we saw a Raptor leaving Mega Bay 2. Now that could have been unrelated to Ship 35. But there was a Raptor spotted leaving Mega Bay 2 after 35 rolled back after this last static fire, which makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Not nervous that Flight 9 is going to go bad or the sky's falling or any of this or that, but just like, what is going on? If that was an engine off Ship 35, hopefully it was just a bad egg and not anything related to the fire itself.
That would be 2 bad eggs in a row for the 2 static fires that we saw most recently. The first one that was 30 seconds, then this one that was a minute. Obviously, there was a major issue on the 30-second one. It may not have been as big an issue on this one, but if that is a Raptor coming off of this particular vehicle, having to change it twice after 2 static fires, keep in mind, once it's in the air, you can't change out that engine again. The only way to change it out is either have it land in the Indian Ocean or end up on another beach in the Turks and Caicos for the 3rd time in a row, and then you have a disaster scenario for SpaceX. Like I was saying, you can only spin it so many times of iterative design when it's the exact same problem or a similar problem 3 times in a row. It's a good thing they're able to recreate it on the ground if that is the case, but if they can't then fix it on the ground after multiple static fires, you really want to risk that in flight then?
Some Ryan chat with a good point. They may have been intentionally stress testing the system. That's fair. And again, we're not 100% certain that the Raptor that was spotted came from Ship 35. The way the Mega Bay 2 is situated, the way the door is, the things we can see are not always super clear. So we don't know. We don't know if that was from 35. To be clear, this is speculations. Ring the speculation bell, ding, 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 etc. But you got to wonder if it was. Don't fight me. As I said in the pre-show, EJ, you look formidable in those sunglasses. Please don't fight me. I'm scared.
What do you want to do, huh?
No, I don't. No, I'm sorry,
What do
sir.
you want to do?
No, sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
America.
Look, here's $20. Here's $20. I'm sorry.
The heck am I going to do with $20, boy?
Here, 50? Is that okay? Don't hurt me.
50. 50 ain't
Now I
going
know
to
how to
pay.
get money out of Jack. This is
50
good
ain't going to
knowledge.
pay for the groceries, boy.
I'm having flashbacks to high school. Okay.
Although
How about
admittedly, I did promise Jack money once and I did pay him. Now I gotta
you
find a way
did
to
pay
get
me.
it in
You
reverse.
paid up immediately. Props for that. Speaking of paying up, I do want to thank people who've been supporting the stream. Telstar86, thanks for the super chat. They say Jack Flex, score equals Jack 1, Sawyer 1 million. What was my flex? Oh, maybe being in the simulator for Virgin Galactic.
Yes.
Space Pope, thank you for another super chat. They say, I'll wait until the end of the Flame Trench to absolve you all of your spherical sins. Ethereal Swordsman says, this is unbelievable.
Ooh, nice.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's a
That's pretty good.
ballin' joke.
Telstar86, thank you again for the super. They say balls equals ballast assisted load lift simulators.
Yep.
Yep.
There's your backronym.
I dig it. Is that
Solid.
a backronym?
That is a backronym, correct.
I can't believe you've never heard of that, Sawyer.
Yeah, me either, dude.
No,
it's like the time
never.
my roommate had never heard of the word bilge. I was like, how do you not know what a bilge is?
Wait, who doesn't know what a bilge is?
My roommate. Let's not throw him under the bus any more than I already did. Ash, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Hi, Alec. Steve Kalovic, thank you for the support. They say, makes no sense or dollars that they won't catch to evaluate the second flight. Isn't reusability the desired outcome? Yeah, but part of the way of getting to reusability is stress testing the system, if that's what they even are going to do.
Sawyer, I got a question for you, if you don't mind.
Oh?
You know, you saying 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. What do you think about Falcon 1? What's Falcon 1? It failed 3 times in a row. And look at what came of that.
I mean, here's the thing, though. How much of that money was involved because of grants, because of federal loans, federal money, projects that they have with the federal government, any of that? How much at the time was Falcon 1 have any government input in it?
I don't understand how that's relevant. I mean, it would be not much. Elon funded the entirety of like Falcon 1 program out of pocket,
Right.
if I'm remembering correctly.
That's what I mean. The only reason that they did a Flight 4 was because Elon scrounged up enough money for a 4th flight. That program should have been dead, technically, on its 3rd try. Now we're in a different story here. We're talking about the fact that they have the HLS contract. They have contracts to use Starship for DoD flights. They have big money contracts now that they must use Starship for here coming up. I think you could be a little more lenient when everything is coming out of your own pocket. But when you're using other money, other people's money, federal money, money that will eventually be used to allow Starship to fly these highly coveted payloads, you have to take a different look at it. Again, that's the point where you can only shout iterative design for so many times before all of these other paying customers who want to eventually use Starship have to go, this is not going to work. We don't feel comfortable launching any of our stuff yet if this is how you're going to keep going with this current block of the ship.
So what's your solution to this problem?
It's either you make it work on this flight or you redesign.
Wouldn't redesign, like, I mean, wouldn't rebaselining the ship design cost the taxpayer more money and their stakeholders more money that are invested? Wouldn't it cost them more?
How far along are they right now on a Block 3? But they're in the works on a Block 3. Whatever the case is, if you try the same thing with the same exact vehicle 3 times in a row, and it doesn't work, at what point do you stop saying this is iterative design and start saying there is a problem with the design?
I mean, it really depends. It depends on your failure modes. We don't know for sure if 7 and 8 had the same problem.
Yeah, that is good to point out. We don't like they were around similar times. They appeared similar. They were both seemingly the result of a harmonic resonance. We don't know. Really
right, we're waiting for the official one still from Flight 8. We have the official from Flight 7, but we're waiting for Flight 8. Because again, for the changes that they've made to Flight 8, for the FAA documentation, they just submitted their report 2 days ago. So it's going to be a little bit before we see exactly what. But you get what I'm saying here. And that's one where, I mean, it's going to result, I feel like, in a multi-month stand down and a reevaluation at that point. It's not like it's just Elon can slap more money at it and say, okay, we're good to go. when you have these contracts that are upcoming and deadlines that are upcoming, you can't just keep throwing money at the problem and say eventually we'll get it right.
I mean, I think
Uh,
you kind
I,
of
I would,
can, but
I would, I would, I mean,
it's not a good look optically.
Right.
Like, it's either way, it's not a good look.
Not in the way
And
that we used to be able to, let's say. Not in the way that they did for Falcon 1. Not in the way that they did for early Falcon 9. It's a whole totally different ball game, I feel like, now in 2025. And that's not the way that you're going to be able to get away with doing it.
I don't, dude. I don't think so, man. I think Elon can fund this project indefinitely. Yeah, the optics wouldn't look good, but here's the thing, man. It's not like you're launching. It's not like this is something somebody's done before. You know what I mean? SpaceX is pushing the envelope. They're solving problems that not even the Apollo. Well, the Apollo engineers arguably did have to solve this problem, but arguably in a much more complicated vehicle. No rocket before us tried to catch the dang thing. This is like taking a Saturn V and a space shuttle and combining it into one thing. You're pushing the unknown unknowns. It's the same thing we were talking about with Gilmore. Like, SpaceX is so far into the unknown. We're so far into just nothing that is even discernible that this kind of stuff is going to happen. So what are we going to do? The second the going gets tough, the second we try to push the envelope, we're going to sit there and worry about the damn optics. Oh, this doesn't look good. Or are we going to go sit there? We're going to try to fix this damn problem.
go ahead, sir.
They're going to go in and fix it, obviously. I get that. But I feel like at this point it's a different story. If it's the first time you do it, sure. If it's the second time you do it, sure. By the third time you're still doing it in a similar phase of flight or with a similar vehicle, at what point do you say that's a problem and that we need to stop and look at this further rather than just keep iterative testing every month or two?
I mean, it's a fair question. I do think when you have a number of Starship prototypes built, I mean, and you do have a new version coming down the pipe, to a certain extent, send it and gather what data you can after doing as much as you can on the ground to hopefully mitigate the issue. But there's just some things, as you guys know, that you just can't test for other than in flight. And, again, I don't personally think that if Flight 9 goes badly for the ship, that it's the end of the world or the sky's falling or SpaceX is going to go under or anything like that. It's just, how long and painful is the road to Mars? Is it paved with cobblestones or is it paved with shards of glass in some areas?
It's paved with nothing, dude. It's paved with nothing. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This is nothing. We are pushing the boundaries. This is not like everything up until this point that we've engineered, like rockets that we've engineered since the Apollo program, has been doing stuff that the Apollo program already laid the groundwork for. All right, digital flight computers,
right,
stage combustion cycles. Stage combustion cycle was the shuttle. Fly by wire, exactly. You are getting into uncharted territory. We are back on the forefront of exploration here. And guess
I agree.
what?
I'm just
Stuff's
saying
going to go wrong, man.
We're paving the road to Mars right now, and how difficult is that going to be? I think we all want it to be in a relatively easy road, and maybe not a lot of people are expecting some of the difficulties to come. Speaking of people, I think we have Alex here to yell at us. Alex, are you going to yell at us? Are you here?
I was just thinking of different perspectives here, I guess. Call it middle of the road, I guess. You guys were talking about, when is it enough, right? And I kept thinking of when Tim did the one of the many different tours with Elon, and Elon talked about his algorithm for optimizing and getting engineering stuff and everything. And he talks about, simplifying things, eliminating parts, and optimizing. But one of the other steps as well is don't dig your own grave. Like, if you're trying something and it keeps failing, or it doesn't succeed, or doesn't, get optimized, it doesn't get to the goal that you're trying to get to, like, just stop and reconsider what you're doing, right? Like, one of those things is part of his own algorithm. No, yeah, EJ, I'm looking at you, but it's true. Like, he's talking about one of these things, for example, at Tesla, where they were going through a different phase, and then they were like, you know what, let's just go to this other thing. Like, I don't recall the exact story that he talked about that, but he mentioned that one of the steps is precisely don't dig your own grave. If you're trying something and it's not going well, just stop. You need a point where you need to reconsider where you're going. Now, does this mean that they need to completely scrap all of this? No. I'm not talking about that, right? I'm just talking about, the part of what are you saying, Jack? You're muted here, by the way, so I'm not able to listen to you.
Just continue. It was a dumb joke.
Well, whatever. What I'm trying to get to is that yes, we're gonna see a lot of these hardships, right? And that's a pun, I guess. Unintended, but it's a pun. And
Ships.
we've seen this for like the last 6 years since we saw that water tower looking Starhopper, and we're gonna see it again in the future. And this is the road to making Starship what it is. And if they're gonna get to that point in where they're gonna have to stop a little bit and reconsider themselves. Like, I'm saying this as a middle of the road kind of thing of what you guys were saying, that it is true that we're gonna live through this all the time in the future, but also at the same time, there's a point where you really need to stop and be like, okay, let's reconsider. Like, there is a limit. I don't think the whole part of, well, but they have money and it's Elon. Yeah, but Elon himself also has on his own, algorithm kind of thing of let's reconsider stuff. And I feel like that's probably gonna be that's probably gonna be the driver in the future as we see more of these issues. There's gonna be a lot of complicated stuff in the future with, in-orbit refueling, landing on Mars, landing on the moon. Like, there's gonna be so many other challenges that Starship needs to tackle. So, like, just expect more of this. We had this as well on the early flights with, the ice clogs, right? Like, and
the ice clogs. We had it on the ship landings, on the low altitude
Exactly.
flight tests. We've seen it over and over. Like, suffice to say, it's far from the last time that we will see a RUD of some kind as part of the Starship program. Like, and it's not. I agree. Not the end of the world. Also, at a certain point, you probably do want to take a step back and not just keep sending things into the Gulf.
There you go.
Speaking of sending things into the Gulf, as part of the updates that we got, what was this part of the updated final environmental assessment, or is this the launch license? I think Jay's about to bring it up here.
They updated the launch license to include the environmental assessment. So now on the books, you have 25 launches from Boca Chica and stuff. But we also did get a NOTAM as well.
There's a change in the NOTAMs for this flight. Basically, in case something goes wrong. Does this change how we perceive ships' probability of success? Because these additions are because of what happened on the last two flights, how they had those debris response areas they had to activate. Now it seems like they're kind of like building that in a little bit. Not that they weren't built in before, but there's a NOTAM. Anyway, does this make you nervous,
No.
Sawyer?
No, not at all.
I wouldn't say nervous, but it's very interesting that they have it there just in case. I think it's one of those where it's kind of like the curse of our patches. If it's there, it won't happen. If it's not there, it will happen. So now that there is a NOTAM for Turks and Caicos, it'll be fine.
Yeah, of course. It's like when you have a tech issue and you call someone over to observe the thing going wrong, and they're like, "Yeah, show me," and you do it, and it doesn't go wrong, and you're like, "Cool, it's fixed," just because someone was watching.
Yep.
That's totally a thing. The new NOTAM projections. Thank you, Ryan, for this in the back channel. Over 175 flights impacted. 99% impacted flights are international routes. Average expected delay 40 minutes to 2 hours. General aviation ops similarly impacted. At least 70 airways impacted. Providenciales?
Providenciales.
Providenciales, amigo.
Thank you.
Providential.
Forced to close for the entire launch window, but that is a small airport. That's the Turks and Caicos primary airport. So there you go. Some updates on the NOTAM situation there.
Or as it says atop, aha.
Thank you. I do want to thank some more people if I can find the window that I buried. Here we go. LaserTech02. Thank you for gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Med B becoming a Red Team member. Smile with a super chat saying, is it true one of the middle 3 engines on Booster 14 will shut down while landing to simulate an engine out scenario? Who knows?
I
We will
heard something
know-
about that, but I don't know if it's official. I have no idea where that came from.
Right. We'll know when SpaceX tells us, probably during the launch stream.
Yep.
Psychological projectionist. You can read it. It's a fun backronym. I'm not going to read it.
Test
Ninja
inertia calibrated
Decimator.
base.
Pew pew pew. So EJ said the next booster version coming down the pipe. One could say it's coming down the tuber. Eh?
The down
Come on,
tuber.
come on, Ninja Decimator. You're better than that.
The downcomer, yeah.
No, man. Shoot, no. I believe you get your butt kicked saying something like that. man.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays. Drew Nar, thank you for the super chat. They say, at what point does SpaceX start launching satellite and move recovery and iteration to a secondary objective, or is development the priority? Yes.
You can't launch the satellites if it doesn't make it into orbit.
Right.
Minor detail.
And you can't launch. I mean, what are they? They've launched like 1,000 Starlinks already just this year, and it's not
1,000
even
this
half
year.
over yet. Like, you can't do that without reuse of the ship. Obviously, they're doing it now without reuse of the ship on Falcon 9. But you get the point. They've got to launch the bigger ones. It's the whole thing. It's important to reuse the ship.
Jack, here, let me say this. There's 2 ways to go about a high flight cadence in rocketry. There's 2 like kind of pillar ways, right? So on one path you have the reuse, right? The reuse with high frequency of flying, you reuse your equipment and go from there, right? Like that's kind of what we're trying to do. That's what they attempted to do with the space shuttle. I wouldn't call it that, but that's what they tried to do. And on the other path, right, to achieve high flight cadence, you work on ease of manufacturing, right? So you make something that uses a lot of SRBs, right? You make something that doesn't have a lot of liquid fuel rockets, something like Vulcan, right? Like you could scale Vulcan because, the SRBs, right? They're easier to make, right? I personally think Ares 1 could be cheaper than Falcon 9 because of this reason. I know people are looking at me funny. Don't worry, look at me, all right? Come on, I already look funny, all right?
You do not. You look great.
Not in that shirt.
No, thank you.
You look great, babe.
Oh, thanks, babe.
No
Coming down,
problem.
babe. Yeah, that's good. So ask me about my mass simulator. Right. Anyway, so like one way you yeah.
Nice.
So one way you can achieve it is, manufacturing, have a booster that's not very complicated, right? And you can make a lot of it, or have something that's a little bit more complicated and then, reuse it. It's always a trade-off. Like, which way do you think SpaceX is going here, right? Like, they're going for reuse, right? So high flight cadence is key. That's where the reuse comes into play. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, there's 2 ways to go about going at it, and SpaceX with Starship is gonna. Yeah, they have to get to that reuse, so they're gonna launch a lot more, even though it's gonna cost you a lot more. But you have to get to that point because they have to do high flight cadence with Starship, because you're not doing an Artemis mission, you're not getting HLS out there expending 16 Starships. So expend them now, right? So you don't have to do that later. It's always it's important to understand like that. There's 2 ways to go about high flight rate, and with Starship, like that the first one, the reuse way, is probably the one that makes the most sense.
Right. Man, this footage is so cool.
Yeah, I kind of almost lost my train of thought there. I'm like, hey.
Very
The
well
only
edited.
reason we can use or have footage like this and acquire footage like this is
Here
because
we
of
go.
everybody's continuing support.
Here
Like
he comes.
Roy Tyson. Thank you. They say, why is Jack wearing a sweater on the beach? That's hilarious. Ethereal Swordsman, thank you for the super chat. They say it's worth noting that there's almost certainly relatively simple fixes. They just have to be built in from the start. So any ships that were made before the fails can't so easily be fixed. That's a fair point. I don't envy the workers that have to climb in the tanks and retroactively install some sort of doohickey to do a thing.
I think that's the reason why we're seeing mitigations. That's the reason why we're seeing fire suppression systems in the attic, right? That is the reason why you're seeing all these mitigations. SpaceX doesn't do mitigations like this. The only time they do something like this is when they're waiting for the fix to come down the proverbial assembly line.
Oh, heck yeah. Max Q, did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that Jack
Yeah,
Beyer guy
yeah,
should really
baby.
clean his sensors sometimes.
Man,
what a
whoever
clown.
edited this video, by the way, did a fantastic job.
They
should
really
get
did. They
tons
did
of praise and follow on X.
Although, is that log footage that wasn't colored? I don't know. Maybe they shouldn't get praise and follow.
Dang.
No, everything was color. Everything had a LUT on it.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
You got-
It is a great.
You got
It is a
tire
great
marks
edit.
on your back, Sawyer, or something? Like, that's where the bus ran you over.
Yeah, seriously, I feel the tire tracks on me, and they're not my own tire tracks.
B1062, thank you for the support. They said there's a reason an entire saying is ad astra per. I thought it was Aspera. Yeah, ad astra per
Rough
Aspera
road
to the stars through hardships. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's not easy. If it was, everyone would be doing it. We'd already be on the moon. Roseanne Devasto, thanks again. Ethereal Swordsman, thanks again. They say, I feel like this should be established. What's being said isn't the termination of Starship as a vehicle, but simply a pause to reevaluate the current design for fundamental design flaws. I mean, I think that's what we've been seeing over the last couple months. If they have an oopsie or an uh-oh, as we say in the aerospace industry, on the next flight, yeah, maybe it'll happen again for more months.
See, I disagree with that, dude. I think stopping is a bad idea. Stopping kills all your momentum that you have, and that can screw your program. Look at what it did to the shuttle program.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's not a good idea. Don't stop. The Apollo program didn't stop. Dude, Apollo 6 was objectively a failure. And then they put people on the next flight. And they came up with a mitigation solution, but they didn't lose momentum.
I mean,
I always tell people
they did after Apollo 1.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're talking two totally different ball games here of uncrewed versus crewed flight also.
What?
Man, look at that booster haul the mail. God, I'm so hyped for Flight 9. I can't wait to see this again.
I feel like you can go a little bit faster and be a little more reckless when you are talking about something that does not have people on it. We had a 2.5-year gap for Space Shuttle for a reason, because it turned out it was an extremely unsafe vehicle, and it was still should have all been in, still early testing phase, whatever you want to say about that. And yes, everything slowed down after that, but that was all in the name of safety. I get that. That was about lives of people. Same with your kind of what you're saying there towards Apollo 1, same deal. Apollo 6, uncrewed, you can get away with going for that extra force. Starship, Flight 7 to Flight 8, same deal. Uncrewed, you can get away with it. So I think if you're going to do it, now is the time before you're worrying about crew rating, but I get what you're hinting at.
Alex in our back channel posting a nice little blurb that I'm just going to read verbatim because I'm a trash person. Bill Gerstenmaier explained that Falcon 9's launch cadence increase somewhat along this way. Sometimes to go higher gear, the RPM goes down. This is all for EJ. And that's fine. Sometimes you got to slow down a bit to optimize things and then get even faster at the end of that. Alex says, I feel like SpaceX is fine with slowing down a bit temporarily if that means pushing harder later. Fair.
I understand that, and Gerst certainly isn't wrong. I'm not one to argue with him. What I'm telling you guys is that this is not the right time to do that.
Yeah, that's also totally a fair assessment. I'm not saying now is the right time. I'm saying maybe the right time is if they have a bad time on Flight 9. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but it's at least time to take stock and suck your teeth a little bit. Like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, but if the Apollo program did this with the Saturn V, we never would have got to the moon by the end of the decade. You know what their solution was on the next flight on Apollo 8, the next flight after 6, if they couldn't figure out those pogo problems with the center engine on the second stage? The solution was shut it off. Shut it off in the middle of flight. Whatever. Shut the dang thing off.
That may actually be what we end up seeing the solution be on Starship. I mean, if you remember that last static fire, the RVACs did shut down 10, 15 seconds early, something like that.
Yeah, Ethereal with the $5. It says momentum doesn't help much if it's running you into a wall, but we don't know they're running into a wall. We don't know that. You don't even know that Flight 7 and 8 were the same problem. I don't understand. There's so much doom, so much doomering, man.
Ryan, our back channel, saying the same thing with the RVACs happened on Ship 34. So ignore me. Elizabeth Hopner, 10 Red Team memberships gifted. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Always see your name pop up as well. Steve, again with a super chat saying, Jack, what are you renting this time? And how did the 1200 millimeter lens work out? I like the 1200 a lot. This time, to be determined. I may or may not have spent, or I'm about to have spent many thousands of dollars on a new drone. So,
it's a nice one.
So I don't know about renting something for Flight 9. I think that money's already been allocated and then some, but we shall see. And Bideford gifting 10 Red Team memberships as well. Thank you, Bideford.
Oh, there's the Danger Dune cam. This is my favorite.
I love this one. Just looking up. The crazy shockwave at like engine ignition, just I love Super Heavy. It's the best.
Beast mode.
And guess
Look
what?
at it. Just
We won't be getting this.
yeah, no catch on 9. I mean, look at it this way. Maybe if they're doing some booster testing or what have you, it means we'll get extra spicy catches in the future. Eh?
But these are nice catches. I like these catches.
Yeah, but extra spicy. You go to the fast food joint and they're like, "Do you want regular or extra crispy?" Give me extra crispy.
Dude, I'm a white guy from New Jersey. I don't do spicy.
That's fair. That's why you hate the good bagels. Okay.
Whoa. Since when are bagels spicy? That came out of left field.
Good bagels are spicy. That's all I'm saying.
What?
Let's do some more questions. How about we do more questions? God, look at the chopsticks take the weight. I'm so hyped for Flight 9. Also, I've had a lot of Red Bull. I don't care they're not going to catch. I'm just hyped to see this thing launch again.
People in chat are saying I look like Boris the animal from Men in Black 3. Yeah, I see it.
Ooh, I can
Yeah,
kind
for
of see
sure.
it.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, that's absolutely a thing.
New Halloween costume unlocked.
Yeah.
I was saying,
Yeah,
I forget who I was talking to. Maybe it was Anthony from Rocket Ranch. Maybe it was Gage. But we should dress up Leica as the acoustic testing seal for Halloween. Like we'll put a set of headphones on her. We'll like put her on a little plank of wood. I'll tease her with some treats so she looks extra sad. It'll be great. Then she'll get the treats. Don't worry. She'll get the treats.
Okay, good. I was gonna
Oh,
say
God.
Jake would disapprove.
She heard me say the word.
Like a treat. Oh, wait, you don't have speakers. Like a treat. Like it. You want to go for a walk?
Don't, God, don't do that. Stop it. More questions. Severin Fisher's asking if they really needed to, could they upgrade SN20 and fly it? Ship 20. Block 1s are reliable, right? It's not even a Block 1, bro, though. That's
Nah,
No.
that's a good lawn ornament that they got sitting out there in the rocket garden.
That's like a space shuttle Enterprise. It was good for original fit testing and things, but never made sense to convert it into an actual flight vehicle. Heck, they thought it was better to convert a structural test article into a space shuttle before converting actually Enterprise. So I feel like that's the same kind of comparison here, which, by the way, speaking of Enterprise, This Week in Spaceflight, hosted by Alicia on the Intrepid, coming up right after this.
Whoa, look at you.
in one breath, no less. Like he didn't even, all right, that's all right.
Can you tell I used to be a TV producer that had to do transitions?
Nope. Well, on the same note as that last question, Aiden's asking, what are they keeping Ship 20 for? It looks cool. Why not? Don't put it in their heads to get rid of it.
Scrap it. Nothing is sacred. Let's go. Scrap it.
No.
S26.
Stop it.
I don't care. They scrapped SN15. Nothing is sacred. Just
yeah.
scrap it. It's taking up space.
I will forever be mad about them scrapping 15. All the latecomer Starship fans who are like, oh, they scrapped Ship 26. It's like, bruh, did you even watch SN15 when it launched? Were you even mad about them scrapping it? Really? We're going to have a whole group of people who are really mad about Ship 26 and not? Where's the SN15 fan club?
Well,
huh?
I could say I didn't see SN11 launch. No one did.
I kind of
saw it launch. We didn't see it land.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard it.
Yeah, exactly.
We heard it. We heard it land. Yeah. Hi, Alicia.
Oh, Alicia's in chat. Awesome. Again,
yes,
we do have
coming up next.
This Week in Spaceflight coming up in like 10 minutes. And, if you want like actual news instead of us rambling about bagels and whatever else, then you should probably watch This Week in Spaceflight. Let's see.
There were some gifted Red Team memberships in there, Jack. You should probably Elizabeth and Bideford.
Did they just pop up? I don't see them in the panel yet. I will definitely hit them here shortly. I think. Wait, can we go full screen on EJ?
Do we need to check the load spreaders?
What's going
It's right-
on?
it's right
Load spreaders
behind
are
me,
just
isn't it?
hanging there. Chip QD arm. What's going
It's
on?
right behind me, isn't it?
I see the back channel talking about the ship QD arm. I just wanted to see it behind you there. What back channel? What's going on?
I don't want to.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Don't do it.
Do it. Do it.
Don't do it. Okay.
We're
Yeah.
like the devils on each of his shoulder right now.
Did I miss those 10 from Elizabeth? I hope I did not. And I see 10 gifted memberships from Bideford as well. I'm not seeing them in the panel. Either way, thank you, Elizabeth Hopner, and thank you, Bideford.
I think it was more than that, but yes, very good.
Also, Alicia coming in with the facts. Best bagels in New York City.
Okay.
Oh,
We have Alicia here, right? Okay, Alicia. A bagel that is an everything bagel, but has jalapenos on top and some melted cheddar cheese.
On top,
Is
not
that
in.
Yeah, on top. Is that a bagel? This is important.
Oh my
The
God.
silence is palpable.
And now you see the 20-second delay.
Farming on the fly, thank you for the support. Alec, thank you for the support as well. Grabbing the Flight 7 patch. They say, can't wait to see you guys up your coverage yet again. Rest up, y'all. Thank you. We're always trying. Farming on the fly again with a super chat. I deleted it. I'm a terrible person. It's gone.
And it's gone.
It's gone. It's all gone.
And Marla becoming a Pad Rat member as well. Farming on the fly, I'm going to try and find that here shortly.
Sorry, did I hear something else about the bagels and Space Pope?
What did the... Oh no, what did the
Space
Space
Bagel
Pope do
Pope?
now?
I don't know,
Silly
Jay.
music,
What
I
did
guess.
Space Pope do now?
Just popping it out and popping it back in again. Easy boy leg.
It's on a bagel,
what does
so
that mean?
yes.
You get it. You get the idea.
Lisa, what are you doing? You broke my
Here's a
heart.
friendly reminder,
I
and
know it
think
was
this
you.
is a fair, educated guess.
You broke my
You know what
heart.
I always say, bagel, bagel, bagel.
Being from New York, you can't talk about the bagels like that. What the heck are you doing?
When they ask me.
Right, that's the thing, Alicia. If it's inside the bagel, you could put, cheddar and jalapenos and stuff inside of a bagel. Fine.
She says it's a bagel.
You can't claim that
No.
that is a bagel if
She
it
says it's a
also
bagel.
has jalapeno and cheddar cheese built into the top of the bagel itself.
She says it sounds delicious. She
Sounds
says
delicious. What
it
the heck is the matter with you?
sounds
The kids nowadays, they
delicious.
want to put everything on a bagel. So I don't want to put all the things on a bagel. What the heck's the matter?
What are they doing on my
They're crazy.
bagels? What are
Where's
they doing to
Christopher?
my boy? They massacred my boy.
They
You're gonna
massacred
massacre
my
my
bagel.
boy. This is ridiculous. I'm going back to the Bing.
Somebody get the. I tweeted a picture of it recently. We need
Yes,
we need
thank
Alicia
you,
to
Kevin Michael
100.
Reed. It's
Nope.
a fake bagel. A bagel.
I like.
It's a bagel.
Alicia lives in New She's certified it as a bagel. What do you want, Sawyer? You're like, come on. What more can I do? EJ left. Come back.
Thankfully, my
We missed-
my earpiece went out and I can't hear a word you're saying. I'm glad.
Yeah. Tim Hackley's asking, why is the booster transport stand
can't
back
hear
at the
him
launch
either.
site?
Oh, that's why, because he was muted to us. I thought my earpiece went out.
What the heck is this guy doing?
I'm
He's freaking
really
muted.
good. I'm really good at this job. I'm like really.
It's only episode 51. It's fine.
I'm so competent.
Thank you. Thank you, Alicia. That is perfectly put. That in itself is not a bagel. It is a bagel with something on it. So you can't call it a bagel, but you can
You
call
said if
it
it's
a
baked
bagel.
into it, then yeah. If it's baked into it, then yeah. It's baked into it. It's baked into it.
It's
The
a-
cheese is melted. It's baked into it. She
bagel
says
topped
it's a
with.
bagel. It's a bagel.
I disagree. There's a hard disagree. It's about tradition, all right? It's about to put the tradition in the damn bagel,
All right.
okay?
Alicia,
Let's.
I will be on the Intrepid Thursday. We need to record something for social media and settle this once and for all.
Hey, look, the ballast bags are up at the top of the tower, and it looks like the ship QD arm has been moved out? Question mark. Also, we have a question here from Tim that I was trying to say while muted. Why is the booster transport stand back at the launch site?
Oh.
Any guesses?
I'm guessing that means that they're going to be moving the booster.
Do we think that they're going to do a booster rollback?
I mean,
I mean, the transport stand rolled, if you'd missed it, from the production site, from the launch site back to the production site yesterday night. and then now they've moved it back to the launch site. So what's going on?
What would they need to roll it back for? That's the thing. Why would they roll it back? Unless there's either a lengthier delay or there's something they need to work on?
Hey, was that my favorite producer Jay talking in the back channel?
No, I think that was Alex coming through robotic.
Oh,
Hi.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was Alex.
hey, Alex.
You're still here? Go home. He went home.
All right.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they end up rolling the booster back. Maybe not. We'll see. And if something's going on with the ship, per our discussion earlier about the RVAC that was spotted leaving Mega Bay 2, if that was related to ship 35, who knows? Maybe they have way more time now because they're going to do another static fire on the ship and I can do more work on the booster. Speculation alarm, etc. Yeah, thank you, Sawyer. Somebody clip that for the love of God.
I'm fine with it. I'm proud of my wee woos, okay?
Do I have your permission to make that my alarm sound?
You absolutely do.
Okay, cool. Farming on the Fly wants to know how I'm getting a Mavic 4 Pro in the US. DM me.
Facebook Marketplace.
So when do we think Flight 9? I mean, it's kind of hard to guess, especially if they're about to roll back the booster, question mark? What do we think? There's a whole lot of dates on the NOTAMs. They have a bunch of backup dates. Do we think we see a flight this month still? Maybe first week of June? How pessimistic are we?
I'm not Ryan Weber pessimistic, but still. Sorry, had to. Here's kind of what
EJ, are you rolling your chair across the flats?
Yes. I'm growing too.
Here is next space flight. If you want to keep track of the launch readiness, sort of the check boxes that need to be checked ahead of Flight 9, then check out our very own next space flight. Also, there's a sweet app with sweet AR stuff.
Yes, with launch trajectories powered by data from Flight Club is awesome.
It really is awesome. But no, so you can see from the checklist here, because we need a checklist for this. Ship 35 at launch site. No. Regulatory approval. No. Road closure for flight. No. Confirmation for SpaceX. No. TFR. No. At least not for the USA. And vehicle stacked, obviously not. And we might have to uncheck booster 14 at the launch site here shortly. So, yikes.
I mean, here's my thought. So what the current NOTAMs are what? The 22nd to the the end of May, basically?
Yep. I think it goes all the way till June 1.
Okay, I think we're going to be pushing it close to that, if I had to guess. I mean, just the way that things are going, the fact the ship still isn't out yet, I feel like if you don't go the 22nd or the 23rd, then you get into the holiday weekend and all of that too, so you got to add in the holidays. It's just, I don't know. I don't think we're going to see the 22nd. I hope not, because I'll be out of town. So I'm going to keep saying no, not the 22nd.
We shall see. EJ, what do you think? When Flight 9?
I think the NOTAMs that we saw posted are going to hold. I think they'll hold up. I'm saying like probably 21st, 22nd, 23rd, somewhere in there.
All right. I'm going to wager the last week of May.
Thank you, but I like it better my way.
I'm going to say 29th just because I like the number 29.
29 is a good number. You know,
27 is better.
27 is a good number. 27 is one of those numbers that pops up everywhere. Once you start seeing 27, you can't unsee it. I've been seeing it since high school. 27 follows me as a number everywhere. It's weird. So, of course,
27th it is. There we go.
Yeah, right? It is really weird. But yeah, you know what's not really weird is This Week in Spaceflight, which is premiering in a minute. And if you want the actual space news instead of us rambling from a very good presenter, that's Alicia, then be sure you check out that here in about a minute. But until then, I do want to thank our launch directors and flight engineers. the highest 2 levels of our membership program for supporting what we do. And part of the perk of being that level of member is getting your name at the end of the trench. So there you go. Thanks, launch directors. Thank you, flight engineers. We appreciate you so much. Whether you're supporting us as part of the membership program, whether it's $1, $5, or a whole bunch more like these folks, we appreciate you. And again, it doesn't have to be a monetary thing. You can just hit the like button and subscribe, and you can watch Twist here in about 20 seconds. EJ, thank you for being on.
Hey, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. Guys, I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/EJ_SA. I'm there Monday through Friday. Yeah, I know being on here is a privilege, and I try to bring the fun and I try to bring the good conversations on. So thank you very much for having me. I do appreciate it. And back to you, Andy.
Sawyer, thanks for being on, buddy.
Always a pleasure. You know I love my Flame Trench crew. I love my fleeps, my Flame Trench peeps.
Fleeps.
I love my fleeps, everybody.
We have to end. We can't riff on this, but I want to so bad. I'm Jack Byer for NSF. Thank you to Jay for operating the stream. What is that? Let's go watch Twist.
And here we go.
We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, Atlantic. Water towers fly!
Echo down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange! Orange 25! Oh my god! Oh my god! Decollage! Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
If the methane would be igniting the flare, correct?
Yikes. You bet. Sure. We don't need any more of these.
You sure about that, mate? Thanks, mate.
I can't believe Adrian tweeted the thing.
I can't either.
I can
you're
totally
muted,
believe
Jack.
it. I know Adrian too well. He wouldn't pass up that opportunity.
Good show. Solid show. Bideford, if you're here. I guess Bideford wouldn't be here because
Wouldn't be
Bideford needs
here.
help getting in Discord. Oh,
Yeah.
we need to figure out Bideford in Discord.
Absolutely, we do.
Bidecord.
Bidecord. Discford.
Discford.
Membies, did you like the show? Was it a good show this week? I feel like some weeks I can just kind of like get into the groove, and I feel like some weeks it's just climbing up a ladder the whole time. This
Today
week just felt like today felt like a ladder. I don't know why. I mean, I felt like it was a good show. I had fun doing it, but I just never felt like I was able to start getting into the swing of things.
Yeah, this is one of those where it felt like you're right. It felt like a climb. Not in a bad way. Again, the show's still good. It's just one of those. There's somewhere we just roll and the clock doesn't exist and time doesn't
Right.
exist, and we're
Right,
just
and it's 3 hours later, and you're like, "What just happened?" Sometimes it's like, you have to work really hard. That was like, again, that was fun. I'm just like, I don't know why I sucked. I'm sorry.
All right, me too. My fellow fleeps, I apologize.
Fleeps. Oh my god, it's Trenchies, you heathen.
No, we're fleeps.
Trenchies. We need a poll.
Well, I used to be a member of the Space Tweep Society way back in the day, so
All right, I'm gonna do a poll in
So now
the
it's the
Memby
Space
chat.
Fleep Society. There you go. Flame Trench Peeps.
What do you want to be called? Question mark. Trenchies?
Are you actually making a poll right now?
Yes. Fleeps. Duration 1 hour. Post. I'm gonna vote
Jack, which one?
Trenchies, obviously.
I'm voting
Okay, cool.
Fleeps, baby.
I'm gonna vote the opposite of you.
Astro Knucklehead says Trenchonauts. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Not bad.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad. Not bad.
You're Alien. You are all Membies, but only the Membies that tune in for the Trench pre and post show are Trenchies or Fleeps, depending on what you all collectively decide. Floaters.
I saw that. That was.
Floaters. I almost choked on my vape.
I was gonna say, with the smoke coming out as you're laughing is just hysterical.
Flamies? That's pretty good.
Oh man, I am dead inside today. I'm just so freaking tired.
Oh, I'm sorry, bud. You doing all right?
I haven't
Everything
slept
okay?
good in a week.
Oh, do you ever mess with melatonin? I don't, so don't come to me for advice. But I know people that swear by it.
I take 10 milligrams.
Really?
Yep.
Dang,
You got to
dude.
detox from that stuff for a while. So if you take time, it doesn't help.
Yeah, you build up the tolerances and stuff.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. No, I get
You
that.
gotta-
No, this week
Yeah.
has just been. Since I had my Crohn's flare last week, I just have not been able to catch back up, and then it's been a stressful week with other stuff.
I'm sorry, bud.
Yeah.
Hang in there.
That's all right.
I hope you can get some
none of it's
really
your-
good disease.
Really good disease?
Z's.
Oh, I thought you said really good disease. I'm like, what the hell, man? I'm already dealing with one.
What are you? What? Wait, why?
I would never.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's just you get it when things happen at NSF that just you expect it to happen and then it doesn't happen and then things go wee.
Yep. Oh yeah, I'm living the life of dueling net dates right now.
Well,
one for Redacted and one for Starship, and it's a hoot. Let me tell you.
I was gonna say you're also dealing with that thing, so yeah, you get it.
Yeah, but I don't have Crohn's. You know, I as someone with a brother that has had to deal with it his whole life, like I totally get it, dude. I wish I could snap my fingers and provide you restful sleep. I really wish I could.
No, I appreciate it. Plus, I've been up early, a couple days, had other stuff to do. Stupid life getting in the way of life.
Right. Do you Sawyer? Forgive me. I'm sorry. Yeah. What video games do you play?
Huge flight simmer. Huge
really?
Flight simmer. Oh yeah.
How did I not know that about you?
Really?
I'm a bad friend. You know what you should do tonight? Make yourself a really boring flight. Like a really boring long flight and see if you fall asleep during it, and then bingo, maybe that's a life hack, like sleep aid. Just a really boring route, like just over barren Antarctica or something.
Until I wake up and planes run out of fuel and passengers are screaming and yeah. No, I mean I literally have throttle with flaps and gear lever and everything clicking right next to me. Got my Airbus side stick throttle, all of it. So.
Nice, dude. What do you do about rudder controls?
My FMS and everything too for the flight computer.
Oh, that's killer, man. Sorry, what do you? Okay, like curious mind, dude. What do you do about like with the rudder? Do you just use the joystick for that?
Twist axis on the rudder or on the.
Yeah. I got you. Cool. Right on.
Yeah, I wanted to, and then I have a slider axis to act as the brake since I can't, use toe brakes.
Yep. That's cool, man. What planes do you fly?
Also, Moto Kenzo, I also take 100 of trazodone too. Doesn't matter.
Damn, dude.
Yep, I'm prescribed 100 of trazodone and I take the melatonin. Nothing's working this week. What planes do I fly though?
Yep.
I mean, Phoenix A3 19, 20, 21, FSS Embraers, so 170, 190, PMDG 737, PMDG Chip 7,
Oh, dude.
Which
Toe
I got
up,
the
dude. You got all
I
the
got
good
the
stuff.
PMDG 737 to work in Flight Sim 24, so I'm very happy with that.
We're talking flight sim.
Even though it's not officially
no.
supported, A300, the iFly Max. In case you can't tell, I like the tube liners.
Alex, Alex also plays a lot of flight sim, don't you, Alex? Are you there?
I am currently playing flight sim. Actually, I'm doing Singapore Airline flights 22, and then I'm gonna do the return one.
Neat.
That's the one from Singapore to Newark.
Avery, don't think I've also haven't tried it with the benzos this week too.
Woof.
I literally just can't sleep for the life of me.
Alien says they do sleep meditation. I can't meditate, or maybe I just never tried hard enough, or or I try too hard. I don't know.
I've tried it, but I just, no success. Every time my mind just thinks of too many other things, I've never been able to shut it down well enough.
Yeah, you gotta keep trying, dude. That's the thing about it.
I tried it for 3 weeks and I just could not do it.
Dang. How you doing, EJ? How's life?
Good. I got a car in pieces in my shop, so that's
when
good.
do you not?
Oh, this one's bad. What
car?
It's a '69 Coronet.
Oh, it's that one. Got it.
Yeah, the blue one. It's got no trunk, or back, or taillights, or rear bumper bracket, or rear cross member. It looks like I chopped it in half. I'm fixing it though. Can I show them?
Yeah, please. I think I figured out the
I-
coolant leak on the rover. It looks like it's coming from where the hose meets the overflow reservoir, so I just need to chop off that little bit of the hose and then put a new hose clamp on there.
It's coolant. Ooh. It's not brakes, you sure?
No, it's coolant for sure. Like when I opened the hood the other day after driving it, after you told me not to drive it, bad things were happening around that hose clamp.
Yeah, do that.
Temps never rose. I babied it, but
that's the back
nice,
of the car right
dude.
now.
Nice.
You're missing part of the car, dude.
Yeah,
Are you sandblasting it and whatnot?
I'm not sandblasting it. I don't have a sandblaster. I'm wire wheeling a lot of it, and
well, if you bring it here, there's a giant 20-mile long sandblaster that's free to use.
I don't.
Thank you, Sawyer. Thank you.
I appreciate it. That was clever.
It's the beach.
No.
It's a joke. Right
on the ocean.
Funny.
And just the water erodes everything.
How droll.
Yeah, but see, it sandblasts it, and then it salt blasts it. That's the problem. That's the reason why I had to cut the trunk out, dude. Here, let me show you.
It's called seasoning your car, just like you season your food. You need to season your car.
It gives you that undercoating that you need to really get the rust on there that you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Sawyer. Yeah. Sawyer's always got my back.
Of course.
Dude, look at this. This was the damn trunk. Okay. It looks like the damn Titanic.
Crap.
Yikes.
You bet.
It looks like my Land Rover's roof.
Oh my god.
No, this dude. Like this.
Oof.
This is no longer metal.
Oh, dude. Also, guess what's been happening the last couple nights?
You've actually been sleeping?
You farted a lot?
Why are you the way you are? I wasn't the guy buying 16 heads of cabbage at the grocery store. No, EJ, so the last couple nights, when the dew point, or when the temperature drops and it hits the dew point and everything gets covered in moisture out here, at my rover is covered in dew.
Rover's covered in dew.
Du hast mich.
So it'll be 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. My car alarm will go off, and I'll go outside, and nothing, nobody around, nothing, dead silent, nothing even in my car. that anybody would want. It just looks like trash in there. So I'll turn the car alarm off, go back inside, put my keys on the hook, close the door, car alarm goes off again. That's happened like 2 nights in a row.
Ooh.
All I can think is that when the car gets covered in moisture, some of that moisture is getting into some electrical contact it shouldn't and causing the car to freak out thinking someone's trying to open a door or what have you. I bet it's the back door because the back door doesn't have the thing on it anymore when we try to fix it, and the back door is also leaking. Remember? I bet water's getting into there and freaking out the car's computer or something stupid like that. But
You have
TLDR,
mechanical latches, dude.
what?
You have mechanical latches on all your doors. There's no sensors on those. Your battery is going.
Is that what you think it is? Battery's going?
Yes.
Maybe the heat's frying it.
When's the last time you changed the battery in that truck?
A year or 2 ago, at least.
All right. Do you have you have a multimeter? Take a multimeter. All right, here. I'll just show you. Give me 1 second. Let me grab mine.
Do not use multimeter on your fairing brake wire.
No, you should not do that. That's not a good idea. All right. Take the put it in the 2 holes on the left, right? So the one that says DC10A, right? And then flip it to voltage where it says 20 or 12.
Yep.
And then take the 2 leads, obviously put red, it doesn't really matter. Put the 2 leads on the top of the battery when the car is off. If it's anything below 12 volts, your battery's done.
Got it.
Just, yeah. So car alarms go off because of undervolting. That's what makes them go off, because it thinks you cut a wire. Like the anti-theft system thinks you cut a wire and
Right.
you undervolted something, like
Right.
the radio.
I thought it was because
If
someone
you
also
unplug
tried
the
to
radio.
break in. That's the other reason why.
Well, also yes.
Yeah, but 2 nights in a row, Sawyer, no one's going to try to hit a car 2 times in one night.
Have you been to Philadelphia? Have you been to San Francisco?
Yeah, but it's Boca. I mean, it's Boca, but it's not that bad.
Fair enough.
At least not where we're at. I can't vouch for the rest of Brownsville. Membies, how you guys doing? I hope you had a great week. It's Friday, y'all. It's not even Friday. It's the Friday at the end of the day. It's the weekend, baby.
Yes, we
Yeah.
ball in like at Starbase.
How's the poll doing? Oh, damn, I have to scroll a lot. Trenchies, 59%. Fleeps, 41%.
All right, it's closer than I thought it would be. I'll
It's
be
close.
honest.
That's close.
Hey, I'm just happy to have 41%, considering I just came up with it as we were signing off.
It is
Hang
a
on,
nice
like he's
Sawyer.
asking to go out. Let me just let her out real quick.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. You're Lego.
I saw that link. Yeah.
We will indeed have the SCA and Enterprise.
Lies. It's the Nikes.
I have no idea where Jake even is.
Jakeys.
I don't know where Jake is.
All right. Well, I hope everybody has a good weekend. Twitch, guys, I'm going to shut the stream off. I'll be back for GTA Racing later tonight at 10. I'm going to go do normie stuff for a little while.
What? What did I come back to?
EJ's
I'm going to
leaving
pop
you.
off. I'm going to leave and I'm going to go do normie stuff with it for a little while.
That's cool, dude. I'm gonna leave and go do Redacted for a little while. You know, you gotta have a life outside of Starship.
I'm gonna leave and not sleep.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Membies. Have a good night, everybody. Have a good night, Twitch chat. I'll see you guys at 10 for GTA Racing, okay?
Ooh, ping me. I might pop by.
You want to play GTA with us?
I might attempt to on the Mac if I can figure out how through Parallels. Lol. You don't make that face, dude. It's what I have. Do you want to buy me a gaming PC?
Yes.
Okay, you have my address.
Mac, ew.
Oh, go away. Yes, I run games on Parallels. It's an M1 MacBook Pro. I think it's an M1 Max. It's fine.
I get it for video editing and photo editing, but for games, dude, come on.
I don't understand it for either of those things. But you do you.
I don't use Macs
Jack-
at all, but that's just me.
Jack, do you watch Andor? No spoilers. Do you watch it?
Nope, don't really care.
That's a shame. Because
I'm sorry.
I'm Deirdre facing you right now.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't get the reference. I'm
Nice
sorry.
bargain.
I failed you. I failed you 2 times in one trench.
Cool. That's all right.
Is it though?
All right. No, not really. No.
Always fun, dude. Have a good Friday.
All right. You too, buddy.
Have a
I'll
good
see
weekend,
ya.
everybody.
Say hi to Dan.
Dan already tried to firework me.
That's awesome. You should have done it during the stream.
He tried to be sly and light it with his cigarette instead of with a lighter so I wouldn't notice, but I noticed and ran into the house, but he threw it after me, so it went into the house. So then I grabbed it like a grenade and threw it back out at him, but it had already...
And here we go.
We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Planet.
Water towers, fly! Yes! Echo down to nominal.
Flight downside FTD off. Say again, FTD off. Off. It's orange!
R25. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Décollage.
What is it?
343 unfolds to go.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
If this methane is